Sorry, everyone. Welcome to the show here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. These drivers going to be doing 200 laps here tonight, so trying to get everything sorted over here at my end. So practice just finishing on up here. We head on over to qualifying and looking at the guy that won a few weeks ago, Jim Ott. We'll maybe try and talk to him after the race if we can. But yeah, Jim Ott in the number 4 auto insurance machine here at the stripe. Jim Ott goes on the clock here. Looking pretty good through 1 and 2. We'll see how he can hit 3 and 4. Looks like lap time starting to flood on in here. It looks like 10 cars have taken a lap here so far. First lap for Ott looks like it will be a 29.82. So that will put him P number 5 here at the moment. Now P number 6 as Justin Branningham cracks into the top 5. Looks like best lap so far going to Kenny Reel, a 29.59. That is a great lap from the number 11. Looks like Frank Zingen able to get up to a 29.60. Jim Ott, better lap number 2. The number 4 machine able to get up to P number 4 here. As it looks like another car here taking a lap. We'll take a look at the number 1 machine. This is Brandon Guerin. Guerin. Guerin here through turns number 3 and 4. We'll see what kind of lap time he can have on lap number 1. It seems like lap number 2, though, could be everyone's best lap here as Brandon Guerin, first lap, P number 15. He'll look for a little bit more speed, but first lap, 29.89 for the number 1. He'll head off at turn number 2 for the final time, head down the backstretch here. Then we'll head into 3 and 4, try and put those lefts right on that painted line just like that. Looks like a great 3 and 4 for Brandon Guerin. He will come to the stripe, and I think this will be a better lap for the 1. Yes, it will. P number 5 for Brandon Guerin, able to get that 1 machine up into the top 10. So it looks like we have 24 cars taking a lap here of the 25 out on the property. So yeah, with that time by the number 11, Kenny Reel picking up another pole award. I believe he has 1 to his name. We'll double check here. Actually, no. So this is Kenny Reel's first Leaf Guard pole award for the number 11. So Kenny Reel already walking away with a little bit of prize money here before the drop of the green flag with that 29.59. But Frank Zingen, a great lap there to start on the front row just behind Kenny Reel. But yeah, Kenny on a mission has turned it up ever since that All-Star run, picking up the win with that. So impressive stuff from the number 11. And thanks again to Leaf Guard for sponsoring that and giving out some cool awards for the pole position as we get ready here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for 200 laps. It's going to be a long one here, and I think we'll get someone special out here on the mic here in just one moment. And I think they're all set. So with myself, Brett the Jet, in the booth, I got my partner in crime from the very beginning here. It is Carson, and the Boosted Brothers broadcast is back. Carson, how are we doing here tonight?
I'm doing good, Brett. How are you?
I am doing great myself. You ready for a long one here? 200 laps. This should be fun.
Yeah, Brett. Here at this 1.5 mile track, 200 laps, sunny day, beautiful, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Looks like we got a lot of drivers, so should be a blast.
Yeah, that it should be a blast here tonight as, sun kind of setting though, so these drivers might be racing into the night, but I'm going to go head on over for the grid walk here and run through tonight's starting order. How does that sound?
Sounds good, Brett.
Alrighty, so the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series here for race number 9 will look like the following for the starting order. Kenny Reel walking away with the Leaf Guard pole award in the number 11. So congrats once again to Kenny. To his outside, starting on the front row, will be the 62. That is Frank Zingen. Then we head to row number 2, starting on the inside. P number 3 will be the 6 car. That is Johnny Barker. Tis outside will be the 4. That is Jim Ott. Then starting in P number 5 will be the 1. That is Brandon Guerin. And tis outside, it's the 21. That is Rob Lowell. Then we head to P number 7. That is the 90 of Stephen Holmes. 8 is Jason Harrison in the 74. Rolling off P number 9 will be the 97. That is Jeff Pogo. And then rounding out the top 10 will be Steve Ritter in the number 16. Then in P number 11, that is Justin Branningham. 12th going to Eric Holly. 13th is Matthew Taylor. 14th, Ariba Canton. 15th going to Jason Wiley. 16th is Cody Brewer. 17th, Chris Taylor. 18th, Eli Raposa. Then we head to P number 19. That is Christian Delgado. And rounding out the first 20 cars will be Austin Smith, rolling off P number 20. Then we head back to 21st. That is Caleb Hatt. 22nd, and his first start here this season is Michael Morrison. 23rd going to Dustin Coggin. 24th is John Buell. And then starting shotgun on the field tonight, did not take a qualifying time. That will be Dan Dill. So that will do it for tonight's 25 starters in Carson. It should be exciting. 25 cars out here tonight at this 1.5 mile. Everyone's probably going to get spread on out, but probably a lot of strategy here. A long race. We'll see when people decide to pit and all that good stuff. Tires, no tires. It's going to be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, Brett. And I've been on the other side of these broadcasts watching them, and it's surreal to be a part of one. So this should be a lot of fun. We'll see a lot of strategy, and we'll see how many cautions we get, because that'll definitely dictate strategy for the race.
Yeah, that it will, Carson. If you get an ill-timed yellow, you know how much that can flip a race on its lid. If we get a yellow during those green flag pit stops, it can cause a little bit of chaos, but we have the lights out around the speedway. I believe this time by, we will be going to green flag racing. Now, Carson,
this is always the time in the car, Brett, where you're juiced up, your hands are shaking, you got the blood pumping, the adrenaline going, and you're ready.
Oh yeah, for sure. Real quick, any quick picks you're feeling good about?
I say Jim, I've seen some good runs and wins out of him when I've been watching the broadcast, so I'll pick him tonight.
Alrighty, fellow Michigander, as the iRacing pace car heads down pit road, Kenny Reel leading the field to green. He goes on the loud pedal, and we go green flag racing here at Charlotte for 200 laps. Already some 3-wide racing there, as it looks like the 62 out of the Woods Crafts maybe missed a gear or missed a shift, Carson, because he fell back there very quickly, able to at least hang on to P number 5 here.
Yeah, Brett, how spread out do you think these drivers will be tonight? You think they'll be pretty clumped up, or you think it'll spread out here in the long run?
Oh, I think they'll spread on out big time here. We'll start off nice and clumped up as people try and figure out the grooves, let's say, but about 10 to 15 laps, we'll see him start stringing on out, as looks like one car, maybe the 14, having a little bit of issues. He's a little bit slowed down on the apron. Looks like maybe even a little bit of left front damage for the 14. So a tough way to start the race. You hate to see it.
Yeah, he'll be really behind the 8 ball, having to go into pits here in the first couple laps, green flag.
Yeah, that he will be, as he's already 1 lap down, at least made it safely to pit road. So awesome job not bringing out the yellow. But yeah, I think these guys will stay bunched down up for a little bit, but we'll see the tire fall off, and that's the big time when we'll see everyone kind of spread on out, let's say, and then after that, it's all about searching on around, because the Charlotte Motor Speedway, we do have the dynamic racetrack, so we could see anyone from running the very bottom all the way to ripping the fence.
Yeah, is anyone out here brave enough to be like Kyle Larson, just rip the fence all the way around?
I think so. I think there's quite a few drivers willing to do that here, as we do have a kind of Kyle Larson scheme on the 58 of Justin Branaham rocking the HendricksCars.com machine. So may have to keep an eye on that car. Yeah, top 5 here, maybe even now top 10 single file on out. It looks like first side-by-side battle will be for 9th. That is Steve Ritter down low, Jeff Pogo up on the top side.
And the 74 Jason Harrison in front of him, holding him up initially, but looks like he's getting out of the way now. We'll have to see if Jeff Pogo here will be able to get around him too.
Yeah, he probably will, as it definitely seems like, at least to start the race, we'll see the bottom side be mainly the lane you want to go. You want to try and keep it on that inside lane, try and keep as little wheel in the car through the turns, but as the tires start to wear, we'll see people move further and further up, as we see the 74 right against the wall there through at least turn 3.
Yeah, Brett, this track looks pretty racy all over. Obviously, the bottom is preferred, but it seems like you can haul some really good speed still when you're up top.
Yeah, that you can, as looks like 74 able just now to slap back in line, so a lap and a half to complete the pass. But even at this point, Carson, you don't want to race someone too hard, because right now it's all about gauging the pace of what you want to run, let's say. So if someone's a little bit faster than you behind you, wants to push the pace a little bit more, you know, we'll see people kind of move up and out of the way, let them on go, and then hopefully catch them later in the run, let's say, if they burn up their stuff. As out in front for these first 8, coming to 9 laps, Kenny Reel leading the way, leading all the laps so far here. He has Johnny Barker, though, right on his back bumper, getting him some pressure. And look at here, battle for third, Brandon Guerin to the inside of Jim Ott.
Yeah, Brett, and it just seems like when you're on the bottom, even with the carb type, you can't quite get a run off coming out of the turns to pass them.
Yeah, it is very tough, because you got to have that just little bit extra wheel, pinch that car down just that little bit more on exit, and especially here at Charlotte, especially turn number 2. You can see there Jim Ott getting a little bit loose up top. With that banking going away as quickly as it does, it can create the car to get very tight very quickly. So if you're kind of holding the car down with a car to your outside, you know, you got to be that much more patient back into the throttle, and with that, like you mentioned, it kills the run on off.
What a nice clean pass there from Brandon. Very respectful, Brett.
I would say so, as Brandon Guerin up into P number 3 here. We'll see if he can track down the front 2 here, about a car length to 2 car lengths throughout the field as they're single file. As it looks like just behind them, looks like maybe Stephen Holmes trying to be another man on a mission in that number 90.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He's got 2 rows of 2 in front of him here. We'll have to see if, with these guys battling, he'll be able to catch him and get around him.
Yeah, as Jim Ott gets back into P number 3 here in a hurry, and I think Brandon Guerin maybe had a little bit of a mistake up top, because he lost that position very quickly. Also lost a position now to Steve Ritter. Now put Ritter up into 4th, as almost contact there between Brandon Guerin and Rob Lowell.
Yeah, and it's got all of a sudden now we got a lot of drivers in the mix. It's brought a lot of drivers into this battle.
Yeah, I think the drivers that kind of wanted to push the pace have made their way towards the front here, as we see a battle for the race lead. Kenny Reel with the block, but one car goes around. It is a big melee going into turn number 3.
Yeah, Brandon Guerin just got hooked there, bro, looked like.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out here on the turn 3 race and replay. But if your favorite driver does get involved with a wreck, Carson, there are some fast repairs on pit road. So even if you are involved in the yellow, your race isn't over yet. As we'll take a look here, see what happened to bring out the yellow flag. Taking a look down the backstretch here, and yeah, I would say so, Carson. Looks like the one car kind of gets turned there. It looks like 21 maybe trying to side draft, but man, Jeff Pogo just squeaks on by. Frank Zingen with a big save, and looks like Chris Taylor nowhere to go. He will get some heavy damage, but man, that could have been a lot bigger of a wreck, as everyone that was kind of involved kept it rolling pretty nicely, Carson. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, I thought that one car was going to blow up and over there and be on top of the other car, and they were going to come back up in the field and clean some guys out. But good driving by everyone there. Crisis averted. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, and one of the worst spots to get turned, you know, is either in the tri-oval, coming back up on track, going into turn number 1 or turn number 3, because just like that, they spin down low and then it starts sliding back up into the raceway, and especially in front of the field like that, wrecking up front, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, Brett. I wonder how the view looked from the guys behind them, seeing that spin, and then you're kind of clenched up like, oh boy, you hope they don't come back up on the track and cause some mayhem.
Yeah, maybe while we're doing that, let's ride on board with Jeff Pogo here with kind of a, maybe we'll speed up the pace just a little bit here, but going to try and ride on board with Jeff Pogo as he just sneaks on by from the high lane. So riding on board with the 97, all of a sudden you see one car and, oh, a little bit of contact to Pogo, but that is kind of the view that he had there. Maybe we'll take a look from Branham, take a look at it one more time, just the kind of the chaos going on and how quickly it happens there as that car back across the speedway there is Jason Wiley with a big save all the way from the top to the bottom. But interesting, Carson, looking at the kind of the running order, already kind of a split strategy. Some drivers deciding to come down pit road.
Yeah, Brett. I don't know about that call. To me, that seems a little early. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely is on the earlier side, but I think most of these drivers just taking fuel because I'm pretty sure, you know, all these races so far in this series have had 3 sets of tires over the wall. I think they might try and do that here tonight, so if that's the case, I think it'll just probably splash and go for most of those drivers. Can't afford to take a tire set this early.
Yeah, Brett, I see here that it's 4 tires, so I agree with you there. Just feel. So, not as too major of a call, but we'll see how it works out for those guys.
Yeah, and the one bummer, though, coming in for fuel there, if you're like, you know, Johnny Barker just going for the race lead, he will find himself all the way back in P number 14, so he'll be in kind of the thick of that mess because we saw how intense that battle was for those kind of mid-pack positions already there.
Yeah, Brett, we'll have to see if that continues here, if the aggression continues to be ramped up as it was in those first 15 laps.
Yeah, I'll probably back down just a little bit because these guys know they have a lot of time, but we'll see some aggression on the start because people will want to try and get to the front. But here we go, iRacing pace car once again down to pit road. Kenny Reel, Jim Ott making up the front row. Here we go back to green. Kenny Reel on it and gets a great start out in front.
Yeah, Brett, he gapped him pretty good, but it won't last.
Yeah, the draft very prominent here at these 1.5 miles, especially in these NASCAR next-gen cars, as it looks like now Matthew Taylor up into P number 2. Jim Ott going to try the crossover for second, and a lot of cars side by side as Ott right to the back bumper reel there through 3 and 4.
I think it freaked out the leader a little bit there, Brett.
Yeah, I don't think Kenny Reel expected Jim Ott's pace, and here comes Jim Ott around the long way up top. Jim Ott trying to go for the race lead down the backstretch. Jim Ott will sail it in there deep into turn number 3. Clear Kenny Reel, so new race leader here coming to lap number 19. Carson, your pick, Jim Ott out in front.
Yeah, Brad, he's shown strong pace here in this series, so I think it was a pretty safe pick. We'll see if he can keep this up throughout the rest of the run.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, as Jim Ott wasting no time up in front. Ran the best lap of anyone out on track, so Jim Ott trying to go for it, but we'll slow the pace once again here as caution flag number 2 comes on out. Looks like we got Caleb Hatt slow on the backstretch.
Yeah, Brett, just looks like he got clipped there and turned around. I think it was the 62 that got him.
Yeah, taking a look at it at full speed here. Can't quite see what started it, so we're going to slow on down the replay here. Take a look at it once again, maybe from a different camera view. But you said 62 was involved?
Yeah, he's the one who clipped him. It looked like the
Brandon Guerin, Rob Lowell.
Yeah, Caleb Hag just came off the wall there and came down on the 62 of Frank Zingen there.
Yeah, it looks like both those meet in the middle because, like you said, I think Hack got a piece of the wall there, 62. Coming on up, probably give him a little bit of side draft, as that is very prominent in these cars, and they make contact in 27 with the worst end of that one. So Carson, 2 yellows to start this race in the first 20 laps. Could be a long one. These guys know they have 200 laps, but the one kind of saving grace here for this number 14 machine, he could be back on the lead lap here soon with these yellows.
Yeah, Brett. Sounds like the 21 has a lucky dog, and he's going around the high side right now.
Okay, so we'll get at least one of those laps back. I believe looks like he's about 2 laps down though, Carson, or is he 3 laps down?
Yeah, it's the 14, my bad. I think I misspoke on the number. He's 5 laps down, Brett.
Okay, so it's going to need 4 more yellows to get back on the lead lap. But yep, the 14 of Michael Morrison, at least getting one of those laps back. Going to need a few more cautions, but at this rate, he should be back on the lead lap. But all it takes is a couple kind of long runs. Let's say, Carson, everyone gets spread on out, and we may not see a yellow flag for a very long time.
Yeah, we'll see, Brett, but cautions always seem to breed cautions with iRacing.
That is for sure. As lights are out around the speedway, we will re-rack them, restack them, and get the field doubled on up here. So Jim Ott going to lead the field to green. Kenny Reel still on the front row, though. This time, starting P number 2. Looks like Ott going to pick the inside lane. As it looks like under that yellow, no one really came on down to top off on fuel or anything like that, so top 5 for this restart will be Jim Ott, Kenny Reel, then it is Matthew Taylor, Christian Delgado up into the top 5, and then Jason Ayerson Stephen Holmes rounding out the top 5. Jason Ayerson rolling off P number 6 here on restart number 2 of the night.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of restart Jim Ott gets here as he fires off to lead the field here to green.
Yeah, because before Jim Ott's pace, one of the best in the field, he's not saving anything on the tire department. We'll see if that continues as Jim Ott away. A little bit of tire spin from the inside lane, especially Matt Taylor. he will get a big time as Kenny Reel will try and shoot down, cover him on off. Looks like he is able to as they dive down into turn number 1. So that puts Delgado and Taylor side by side. Not anymore. Christian Delgado up into P number 3 here. A little bit further back, it looks like we have the 90 down low, 74 up top. As everyone here looks like pretty quickly trying to get single filed on out.
Yeah, Brett, we got Steven Ritter here to the inside of Jason Wiley, it looks like. Yep. So we got a battle here for position number 8. Oh, and we got some contact.
Yeah, Wiley will shoot down the raceway. Ritter going to take some evasive maneuvers. That could have been very bad there. Looks like contact further on back. The 30 machine got a little bit of, and maybe a donut on the left side of that car. As we see Jeff Pogo go flying around the outside in that 97. So side by side once again for Jason Wiley and Steve Ritter. This is a battle now for Pete number 9 as Dustin Coggins was able to get around both of these guys and kind of sneak on away here. 25 of the 200 laps already in the books here. As it looks like one car further back, I think Caleb Hatt smacked the wall big time off of turn number 2.
Some tough breaks for the 27. His nights just keeps getting worse right now.
Yeah, that it is. And Jeff Pogo, one of the few cars kind of consistently running up top. I think he's saying he wants to get back to the front, and he's just going where cars aren't, so that leaves the top lane wide open. He's trying to keep the momentum, and he's picking them up and putting them down out here.
Yeah, Brett, he's almost a second and a half faster than Wiley and ahead of him, so he's definitely pushing it right now and trying to get to the front.
Yeah, that he is. If trying to see the good old standings, let's say, from last week. We'll get those pulled up in just 1 second. But yeah, I believe last week Jeff Pogo picking up the win at the road course. So back on the oval, he's trying to pick up right where he left off. He's up into the top 10. Out in front though, battle for the race lead and new race leader. I should say race leader once again. Kenny Reel back in front of Jim Ott and Christian Delgado, kind of holding them honest there. He's trying to make up some ground right behind them as well. Battle inside of the top 5 here as Stephen Holmes tries to get around Matthew Taylor. Couldn't quite do it there off of turn number 2. Will once again get the inside lane as Taylor goes up top here. And Taylor might make a move on the 74 for P number 4.
Yeah, he looks fast up there, Brett. We'll have to see if he'll be able to make the top side work to get around him.
Yeah, there's definitely some speed up on the top side, but those guys got to be careful. It's going to eat away at that right front very, very quickly as cars going around on the backstretch. Dan Dill spinning in the 81 Bills Mafia machine. You hate to see that with the Bills playing here tonight. So we're going to take a look here at the turn 3 replay here. 3 wide off of turn number 2. Carson, what'd you see?
Yeah, it looks like Arabia Kane the third got into him a little coming out of turn 2 and then just hooks him going down the backstretch.
Yep, so 3 yellows and 3 very similar incidents, all 3 of them. And the bummer out of that one, Carson, Johnny Barker kind of an innocent bystander makes heavy contact with that inside wall with the left side of his race car.
Oh yeah, Brett, that's a hard hit right there. Hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, hopefully he is. We'll try and watch it back at full speed, riding on board with Barker. As you can see here, all of a sudden car there, and ooh, like you mentioned, Carson, a big hit for Johnny Barker there. So he's able to get rolling, use up one of those fast repairs, but these guys got to be careful at this rate, you know. Could start using them on up and not have any more left in case you get caught up in a big one or anything like that, because 33 laps in on the third yellow. And it looks like once again here, gonna have some strategy as we have about, I want to say 7 or so cars down on pit road.
Yeah, Brett, we got Frank Zingen, Jason Wiley, Brandon Garand, and then Cody Brewer coming out right now. I don't know if anyone else is still down there getting repairs fixed.
Yeah, it looks like we have Austin Smith, Chris Taylor, and Dan Dill all still down on pit road here. So once again, that Sunoco number 14 machine will go around on the high side and get another one of those laps back. So he's getting closer and closer, Carson, to get back on the lead lap.
Well, yeah, right now he has no competition for the lucky dog, so he can just keep buying his time and waiting for cautions.
Yeah, that he can, as long as he doesn't get caught up in the yellow, because if you do, you know, that will not, let's say, not allow you to be eligible for the lucky dog. Is maybe let's try and see what happened at the start for the number 14 here. Going green and see if anything kind of weird happened to him or what caused him to lose that time. Is looks like pretty decent start for them. Oh, and it looks like John Buell gets into the left rear of the 14, sends him to a pretty decent hit. That's where he got the left front damage, hitting that inside wall. So a tough break there for Morrison kind of at the start, just trying to get the race going, and just got tagged in the left rear. So we've at least seen 3 incidents of that bringing out yellows, maybe 4 incidents already here tonight. But Carson, looks like we get ready to turn him back loose once again.
Yeah, Brett, unfortunate for the 14 there that he's behind the 8 ball now just because he didn't get a caution for his incident. But looks like maybe playing some games here on the restart with Jim Opera, hanging back really far.
Yeah, that he is. Not sure if a little bit of mind games or what's going on, but he needs to get up on the wheel because Kenny Reel is leading us to green. So I can hang back that far. It just means he won't get a good restart.
Yeah, it looks like it was just some brake checking down the backstretch. So it looks like he's getting up to Kenny Reel here, and we'll be ready to fire off once the pace car pulls off.
Yep, and that it does there. So here we go. Once again, Kenny Reel leading the field back to a green flag, as the 11 will kind of mix up the restart a little bit when he decides to go. As once again, a great start for the 11. Jim Ott, though, will be side by side with Christian Delgado diving down into turn number 1.
Yeah, aggressive move by Delgado there, and he makes it work. So we'll have to see if Otto will be able to get back around him. Looks like probably he'll try to send it to his inside.
Yeah, he'll sniff that left rear quarter panel of the 31 and get to the inside here as they head to the stripe to lap number 36, as Jim Ott just into second place. So once again, a crossover move from the number 4, as Ott will try and reclaim second. Delgado might try and do the same. It gets very tight off of turn number 2. Here comes Delgado down low.
Yeah, that was an impressive crossover by Delgado there to clear that. I didn't know if he had enough room, but he made it work, as Ott almost gets into him there, coming between 3 and 4.
Yeah, that he does, and I think got a little bit of aero tight. You saw that car wash way up the racetrack, so either got in there too hot or definitely got some aero push as that car didn't go probably where the 4 wanted, but here comes Jim Ott once again with a big run. Kenny Reel going to try and break up the draft a little bit. Looks like car further on back, getting the wall down the backstretch. So yeah, some flying pace out in front here right now. Kenny Reel leading the way, Jim Ott second. Christian Delgado trying to hang on to third, but here comes some pressure from the number 8. That is Matt Taylor putting on the pressure behind them, side by side racing. Now we see here battle for the race lead. Jim Ott able to clear Kenny Reel going into turn number 3. So Ott back out in front, Kenny Reel second, and a whole gaggle of cars right behind here as these guys going for it here in the first 40 laps.
Yeah, and Pogo's still pushing here, Brad. He's on the outside. Got a good run here on this nice tied Ricky Craven car.
Yeah, that he does. Jeff Pogo now up into the top 5 once again. So Pogo, like we mentioned before, a man on a mission, and it doesn't look like that mission stopping anytime soon as he's trying to work over Stephen Holmes on the inside lane. Looks like Pogo will get clear of the 90.
As you alluded to, Brett, now the field is getting much more spread out, so we'll have to see if we can get in a long green flag run right now.
Yeah, and that will only continue to spread out the field as, you know, we are 40 laps in, but a flurry of yellows to start the race here tonight. So far looking pretty good as side-by-side battle for the race lead. Jim Ott, Kenny Reel, Carson still going at it.
Yeah, Brett, this is a good battle. They seem right there neck and neck for pace with their lap times. Yeah, I run about the same laps, so it's anyone's race right now between these two.
Yeah, as Jim Ott will try and slam the door shut in 3 and 4, but we'll wash up a little bit. Kenny Reel once again to the inside lane, and with these guys running side by side, you know, they're not getting the draft of each other, but they can kind of side draft each other, slow each other down, but that allows now Matt Taylor to enter the picture, and here comes Jeff Pogo.
Shot out of a cannon, Brad. He's flying.
Yeah, that he is. He'll try and make quick work over Taylor for third, and looks like will. So we'll see what Jeff Pogo can do now that he has caught our race leaders here.
Yeah, Brett, that last lap, Jim Ott was faster than Pogo and Kenny Reel, but Pogo was running the faster lap times previous to that.
Yeah, now if you're maybe Kenny Reel, Jim Ott, maybe you try and work together a little bit more, try and drive away from the field, let's say, and then duke it on out maybe at a later time, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Kenny Reel back to the inside of Jim Ott through 1 and 2.
And it looks like he's just going to have enough of a run to clear him as here comes Ott crossing him back over down the backstretch.
Yeah, Ott with the high side to the low side. We'll see if he can wrap that paint. Going to wash up just a little bit at the apex. That will hurt his runoff as Kenny Reel will probably defend. Yes, he will, that lead position as here comes Jeff Pogo. It looks like now Christian Delgado putting the pressure on Matt Taylor. They're just behind them as well.
Yeah, Brett, we'll have to see if Pogo will be able to get a run here on Ott. Like I was saying, he previously, the last couple laps, had the faster laps, but we'll have to see if he can make the move to pass him. It's one thing to catch a guy, it's another thing to pass him. You know about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. That is exactly it, Carson, as it is two separate things and very tough to pass a race car. And you got to wonder, it seems like Jeff Pogo able to catch these guys but not really get around him. You got to wonder, did he maybe use up his tires a little bit? It looks like we got a fender kind of bouncing around the backstretch. Or do you think these guys know they're still in the first quarter of this race, you know, maybe bide their time try and check on out, give themselves a little bit of breathing room from the cars behind, and then duke it out, you know, maybe right before a pit cycle or right after it.
I think they'd still be saving their tires, Brad, not pushing too hard until just to see what kind of cautions we get and what the strategy will be dictated from that.
Yeah, I think so as well. As we got a unplanned pit stop from the 69. I think that's where the fender we saw down the backstretch came from, as we're looking at Chris Taylor with a lot of damage on that Eagle 69 machine.
As I'm trying to see what happened, Brett, and I don't see, so I don't know what happened there with the 69 car.
Alrighty, might remain a mystery there as we take a look here once again at a battle for P number 4 here, as Delgado once again trying to work over Matthew Taylor. Top 3 single file on out for a little bit here, probably just trying to click off laps as we approach kind of a quarter of the way already done with this 200 lapper, as we get very close to lap number 50 of that 200.
Yeah, Brett Delgado here's got to run to the inside. He dropped back earlier, but looks like again he's pushing. So I don't know if that. Do you think that's the right call, Brett, to keep pushing right now?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think everyone's kind of spread on out, and this is your true race pace here, as you know, maybe at the start of the restart, you know, take it on easy, save those tires, bring them up to temperature nice and easy, and at this point you got what you got. You got to make it work, you know, pushing that 85% here. As it looks like we got Andrew out there in the chat. What's up, Andrew? Hopefully you're having a good night, as well as classical tunes there, cheering on the Riptide Radio and their station. I tell you what, Riptide Radio, a great station. And of course, you know, we'll show it here during the next yellow, talk about our sponsors a little bit more, but you can find out more by scanning their QR code or going into the description, clicking that link there. That'll take you over to Riptide Radio, and you can find out about some of the best beach and boogie music. As yeah, it seems like Taylor here, Carson, found another gear, able to drive away from Delgado. Top 3 trying to check on out. Further on back though, Steve Ritter and Eric Holly side by side. Looks like for a top 10 position at the moment.
Yeah, Brett. Looks like Ritter has a bit more of the run on the outside here, so we'll have to see if we'll be able to clear him coming out 4.
Yeah, that's actually Eric Holly in the 7 up top. And yeah, you mentioned it there, the run up top, and that makes it very, very tough to pass. And does seem like the preferred lane, as long as you don't blow off those tires. Top side seems like it's coming in better and better, and it probably will as the inside lane gets hotter and as the sun sets, because it's starting to look pretty dark out there in the sky.
Yeah, these guys, Brett, right now, you just can't separate them. Eric Holly on the outside just can't seem to quite get around the 16 of Ritter.
Yeah, these guys minding their P's and Q's, doing a great job of racing side by side and, you know, not making any sort of contact. And further on up, another side by side battle here, as Delgado will take over P number 4 once again. So top 5 looks like it is Kenny Reel, then it is Jeff Pogo just getting around Jim Ott. Jim Ott, of course, now in 3rd. Christian Delgado, who we're looking at in 4th. Matt Taylor, 5th. Then this guy's been on a move since the last restart, Carson. Justin Branham in this 58. He's up to 6th. Jason Harrison 7th, Rob Lowell 8th, Stephen Holmes 9th. And it looks like Steve Ritter finally able to get on around, and that'll put him in 10th.
Yeah, but their battle slowed them up enough that Austin Smith now here battling with them.
Yep, Austin Smith in that line, scheme number 33 machine. A tough break for those lines, but it's very nearly impossible to win a game with that many turnovers.
Thanks, Jared Goff.
Thank you, Jared Goff. So we'll come back another season. Of course, Rams just losing out to those Eagles. So Chris Taylor not having the night he wanted, but he's got to see his Eagles win. As here soon, though, Carson, probably the game of the playoffs so far. Chiefs and Bills, that should be a good one.
Yeah, that perennial matchup that the NFL loves. We'll see if the Chiefs can actually lose a close game, Brett.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough, hard-fought battle because they're going up against some of the best players on their feet. You know, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, but hopefully, and I know Dan Dill will hope so as well, that the Bills pull it on off. That's who I'm rooting for. So we head on over to lap number 60 and check out this, Carson. Out in front, Kenny Reel kind of checking on out, trying to stretch his legs to a 2.5 lead over Jim Ott. And here comes Christian Delgado just getting around Jeff Pogo. We saw Pogo up in that top lane a lot in these first 60 laps. I think that hurt his tires because his pace not there, but here we go. Jeff Pogo in on pit road here.
Yeah, Brett, early pitting, he's going to be the first one down. We'll see if that's the right strategy. We'll see if we get any cautions here soon, because a caution would definitely help him out. There's a couple more guys behind him coming in.
Yeah, it looks like Stephen Holmes and Eric Holly, I believe all those guys on a team. Yes, they are. They're part of Gateway Motorsports. So that team saying the strategy here, pitting early, undercut everyone else, and probably try and stop one or two more times here towards the end. So like you said, we'll see if that's a call, because the yellow comes out. That could hurt them here as they do go one lap down now. And I'm not sure if when the 33 pit last time, if he came down to get tires, his pit stop time does indicate that he did take some sort of tires, because that 33 machine is absolutely flying as we see him get right to the back bumper of Branham. If he can get around him, Carson, that puts Austin Smith up in the top 5.
Yeah, Brett, he was flying. He made the pass on the outside there, so around Ritter. So we'll have to see if now he can pick off. Looks like the 58 of Branham in front of him.
Yeah, and right now looking like he can. We'll get a big run down the straightaway. Looks like Branham will arc it on in towards the bottom side as Smith has to check up just a little bit to not get in the back of the 58. So it does seem like the 33 has a little bit more pace, but just has to pick the lane that the car in front of him is not, as we now see Steve Ritter right behind them dive down to the inside lane.
And this is a move we've seen many times before. A guy tries to dive it down with the car on the outside and just can't get a run off.
Yeah, that we've seen many times here tonight at Charlotte, and probably many times more as Austin Smith going to get a nose to the high side. Looks like Branham won't be able to cover him on off. One car, big time out of shape.
Yeah, got into the 16 there, Brett. With the 16 coming up, got a run, and I think the 14 bounced off the wall and got into him, or the 74, my bad.
Yeah, it looks like 74 somehow hangs onto that race car. Great save by him, but that will, like you mentioned, cost him a couple spots there. But wow, what a save by the 74 there.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse for Jason Harrison. He went for a bit of a ride, but survived it.
Yeah, that he did. It looks like now another car down on pit road. Looks like the 12 car of Cody Brewer and Caleb Hatt. And now it looks like the 74 coming on to pit road, as well as your pick, Carson. Jim Ott from second position down on pit road. So the first guy is coming down on lap 60, then the next group kind of 67. I believe these guys can go right around 80 laps or so, if I'm not mistaken, on a full tank of fuel. So they're trying to, once again, kind of short pit, as we still have the top 15 yet to come down pit road. Kenny Reel, though, out in front, trying to check on out, as here for maybe fourth. Might have a battle here as Ritter trying to track down the 58 of Branningham.
Yeah, Ritter Brad is pitting in, or my bad, Lowell is pitting in. I hear him radioing up. Here he comes down the pits.
Yep, that he is. Also looks like the 8 of Matthew Taylor coming on down. Those guys were running, I believe, 6th and 7th at the moment. Seemed like Lowell was definitely catching the number 8, so we'll have to see how that shakes on out, as Dustin Coggins and Eli Raposa both down as well. So now, Carson, that just leaves about 10 cars yet to pit here tonight, as we head on over to lap 70 of the 200.
Oh, and speaking of Ritter, he just got into the 58 of Branningham.
All right, so Ritter making contact with the 58. They will drag race down the back straightaway. Right behind them as well, Frank Zingen under pressure from Johnny Barker. We saw Barker involved, I believe, in that second yellow, trying to make up some time and tracking down the 62.
And with the two drivers ahead of them side by side, these guys probably have a chance to catch up to the 16 and the 58, don't you think, Brett?
I think so, before they pit, as this side-by-side battle might get broken up, as Jeff Pogo on fresh tires coming here in a hurry, as we see this time by our race leader and second place down on pit road, Kenny Rio, Christian Delgado down on pit road on lap 72. That will hand over the race lead to the 33 Carson, Austin Smith out in front. And so it seems like maybe about 70 laps on a tank of fuel, because now all these cars that are still out on track have pitted at some time during these yellows to take a little bit more fuel.
Yeah, Brett. Do you think now that'll be enough for them to get to the end of the race?
No, I think they got to pit one more time, and then they'll be good to the end of the race. So at least one more green flag stop, if they can kind of make it towards the end, as we see Steve Ritter down on pit road there. As here we go, Frank Zingen all over the back bumper of Justin Branningham for what will be now second position here. As the 58 washes up, so does the 62, but the 62 able to get that car a little bit more turned off corner exit, get to the inside. Here we go, side-by-side battle for second. And don't look now, Carson. Johnny Barker right there behind as well, as Frank able to complete the pass. As we'll see if Barker can do something as well, as Frank going to try and drive on away here a little bit.
Yeah, Brent, Austin Smith out here pacing this field. Just Pogo just drove around him to get himself unlapped the hard way, so we'll be seeing a lot of that here as this green flag run continues.
Yeah, that we will. 75 laps down here, and an intense battle right around Justin Branningham with some of those guys on new tires going on around. Branningham had a little bit of a moment down the front straightaway last time, cost him a little bit of time. That allowed Johnny Barker to get on by as well. As it looks like Branningham down on pit road this time.
That's interesting, Brett, that he's coming down by himself.
Yeah, it is. It might mean that some of those guys that, you know, pitted during that first, let's say, yellow flag might be getting close on fuel here.
This is 33 still out here pacing the field all alone.
Yep, was able to put a little bit more gap over the 62 probably with that battling, but yeah, Austin Smith looks very sporty out here. He's probably going to try and run this thing empty, especially if he did take tires, so we may see the 33 out here quite a bit out on track, but even with those fresher tires, you know, last time by ran a 31.06, whereas now Jeff Pogo with those tires from about 18 laps old, you know, just ran a 30.20, so already a second quicker for Jeff Pogo, and some of those guys that just pitted like Steve Ritter or Dustin Coggin still in the 29s.
Yeah, Brett, we got a couple guys now who have unlapped themselves, just running by, like you said, running about a second faster than Austin Smith out here on older tires.
Yeah, that they are. So Smith may lose a little bit of time, but made up a ton of time there with those fresh tires. So it all depends, though, Carson, how this cycles on out, because like we mentioned, everyone's at least going to have to come down pit road one more time, as the top, I want to say 5 now, will have to come down probably 2 more times before this race is over. As now the 47 NOS Energy machine of John Buell down on pit road, so he will make his first green flag stop of the night, as we see Jim Ott go flying on by as Smith will tag the wall through 3 and 4. Here comes Kenny Reel to unlap himself as well.
Yeah, a little 3 wide there with Ott forcing the issue, going to the inside of the looks like the 81 car here of Dan Dale, and then sent the 33 into the outside wall wrap.
Yeah, and you know, Ott doesn't have too much time to waste because he has Kenny Reel right behind him. Ott pitting about 5 laps sooner than Kenny Reel, you know, trying to short pit, gain that track position, but Kenny Reel trying to track him on down. That will probably be the race for second after pit cycles. And here we go, race leader Austin Smith down on pit road.
And so, Brad, are they filling their fuel tank here? How many laps do they get on a full tank?
I want to say they get about 70 laps on a full tank of fuel with a yellow. You know, probably totally full, it's probably right around 68. So that's about how long they can make it. So we'll see when the rest of the field comes on in, because like I mentioned before, you know, you stay out running long here with the extra fuel, you can get a little bit more of a buffer with pitting, maybe take a little bit less fuel, but those 4 tires, you know, still take up quite a bit of time. And with the pace they're running, you know, losing a second a lap once they do get those fresh tires. As for when things shake on out here, Jim Ott does get around Stephen Holmes. Holmes last pitted on lap 60, and Jim Ott and Kenny Reel about half a second quicker than Stephen Holmes, so that kind of shows you what 10 laps of wear and being out on track does to your lap times. You know, half a second difference by pitting 10 laps later, as Kenny Reel on the back bumper of Jim Ott. This will be a battle for second once our top 4 heads down pit road. Here we go, one of those 4, Duke, does come down pit road. That is currently the best running Wolfpack driver. That is the 6 of Johnny Barker. So keeping an eye on these two. This is going to be the best battle for position out on the speedway here. Will be a battle for 5th here. And then, of course, overall, it will be for 2nd once pit cycle finishes on up.
And Kenny Real running almost the same lap times, and we'll have to see if he can make a move to the inside. I think that's where he's going to look here, Brett.
Yeah, he's going to keep trying and looking as he gets right to the back bumper, and we'll do that move right here, Carson, going into turn number 1. Jim Ott going to play it safe, going to back out of the throttle, going to slot right back behind him. He knows Kenny Real has better tires, so as long as Ott maybe made Kenny use up his tires a little bit to track him down, if those two can keep the same pace like they are, we're going to have a great race even by the end of this one.
Yeah, Brett, just based on what we've seen thus far, I think these two will be the guys to watch by the end of it.
Yeah, it does seem that way as we see now Christian Delgado get around Stephen Holmes for P number 7. And a little bit deeper in the field here, we see Dan Dill and Dustin Coggins about to do battle for right around that 14th position here. So Coggins with those fresher tires able to get around pretty easy. Oh, we see our race leader Frank Zingen coming down on pit road, but that moved up, I believe, Dan Dill, and he makes contact with the 47 of John Buell.
Yeah, that was a scary one there, Brett.
Yeah, that could have ended badly very quickly. But look at this, Carson. Car number 1 out in P number 1. Brandon Guerin now out in the lead, and I believe it's just him and Jason Wiley that have yet to make a green flag pit stop. As just as I say that, here we go. Brandon Guerin on the apron. He will come down to pit road. So Guerin will pick up a bonus point for leading a lap. Now with this cycling on out, new race leader Jeff Pogo out in front, about 2.5 seconds over Kenny Real. We'll see how quickly that lead fades away, because last time by, you know, Jeff Pogo and Kenny Real, very similar lap times. A 30.58 for Jeff Pogo, and then a 30.55 for Kenny Real. As we get our battle box here on the top right, and you can see just the different speeds, let's say, with position wise and how they're running out on the speedway. Kenny Real very fast across the stripe, 193 miles an hour versus 186 of Jeff Pogo.
So, Brett, has everyone made their green flag pit stops now at this point?
Yes, they have, as Jason Wiley... Actually, no. I take that back. Jason Wiley has yet to pit. He was last down during the last yellow flag there on lap 30. So, Wiley, the last car to come down on pit road. It looks like will in fact stay out another lap, so he is the last one to make it down pit road. Everyone else, though, have made their first green flag pit stops. As the best piston broke driver here at the moment is Jason Wiley, but I believe once pit stop cycles on out, it will be the one machine of Brandon Guerin. And Carson, we have a question in chat. So someone asked, is the key to winning basically just pushing the pedal down all the way?
In the simplest terms, that helps, but there's a lot of strategy and racecraft and There's a lot more to it, Brett.
Yeah, that it is. You know, like you mentioned, it helps you go faster. As real quick, as we're talking about this, Kenny Real back out in front will easily get around Jeff Pogo. So Real back out in front as we approach the halfway mark. But yeah, like you said, Carson, you know, a lot more going into these things here at Charlotte. You're lifting, using just a little bit of brake on both ends if you need to help the car rotate. And then the key, especially with these NASCAR racing, these cars are so heavy, these tracks are so long. It's all about how you get into the throttle, how much wheel you have in the car, because if you get in the throttle too early with too much wheel, you'll blow off your right front within 10 laps and be out there on the struggle bus for quite a bit, because that car won't rotate, won't do what you want to do. So, but the earlier you do get on that loud pedal, you know, usually the faster laps you can run. And it's all about, though, timing it perfectly and getting that feel of these race cars. So our last car to pick, Carson, Jason Wiley, off of pit road. So we have officially completed our first group of green flag pit stops. Kenny Real out in front. And it looks like we got a couple battles out on the speedway. Eric Holly and Justin Branham side by side.
Yeah, I've been watching this one for the last couple laps. These guys running pretty similar lap times, and it seems like just staying right there with each other. Dicing up, getting side by side, but no one can really pull away from the other.
Yeah, as Eric Holly on the older tires, about 15 laps older than Justin Branham. So I assume now Branham around Holly and will probably drive away just a little bit from that number 7. Though we look a little bit deeper in the field, 3 wide here as Johnny Barker trying to get around Eli Raposa. Caleb Hatt will get a big piece of the wall going into turn number 3, but that'll allow Johnny Barker to get on around those cars. And we've been doing a lot of jumping on around. We'll do some more here as Steve Ritter is catching the number 21 of Rob Lowell. This could be a battle for a top 5 position here as Ritter to the inside of Lowell. These two are teammates. I don't expect too hard of a battle here. As Ritter gonna wrap the inside lane right around that painted inside white and blue line and able to get around that spot. But here we go, Carson, for the number 11, this time by at the stripe. It is cross flags, halfway down, halfway home in the longest race of this season for the Riptide Radio 802 Next Gen Cup Series.
Yeah, Brian, it looks like he's running the fastest laps out here on the track, and with the gap he has, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's got a wide open track in front of him.
Yeah, that he does. Not too much lap traffic, absolutely no pressure behind him. So Kenny Real just has to keep all 4 tires underneath him, you know, not make any mistakes of hitting the wall, getting the car out of sorts, and he's looking pretty sporty here in this first half. We'll see what he's got in the second half.
Do you think he's using up his tires, Brett?
I don't believe so. I think this pace, you know, like you mentioned, you know, some great pace out of the 11, and this long into a run, you know, 30 laps, your tires are pretty much what you got. So if he can hit these laps on 30-lap old tires, I would say his car is handling pretty well, and he's doing a good job at not pushing too hard, but keeping some great pace. As we look further on back here, Matt Taylor able to get around the high side of the 21. That'll put Taylor up into 6th. And then right around the top 10, closing in on maybe a 4-car battle here.
As, looks like Dan Dill just got moved up the track, Brad. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not. What did it look like that you saw?
Yeah, this 47 of John Buchholz just got into him a little bit, in the left rear and moved him up the track, but we kept it going straight and we're green, so not too big of an incident there.
Yeah, luckily nothing too big. And battle for second here as Christian Delgado with those 11 lap better tires gonna probably pretty easily get around Jeff Pogo here. So Delgado up into P number 2, and with that move, that moves him up 17 positions from where he started here tonight.
As now the 81 of Dan Dill to the inside of Jeff Buell, and it looks like no animosity here, clean race, and we'll have to see if he can make it work and get enough of a run here coming out of 4 as the 47 goes way up toward the wall and the 81 has the run.
Yeah, it looks like Dill will clear the 47 there off of turn number 4, so for the moment they will stay single filed on out here as we once again go to that battle right around the 10th position here. Dustin Coggins did get around Stephen Holmes. Now Coggins trying to track down Brannahan, but Brannahan does have the better tires. But you know, Coggins and Brannahan have to be careful because there is a quick number 6 here closing on in behind them as Johnny Barker gets around Stephen Holmes. And Barker, one of the best cars on the long run. When you think long run pace, you know, I think especially this season you got to throw in Kenny Reel, Jeff Pogo, Christian Delgado, Jim Ott, I mean even Steve Ritter, all of the top 5, Rob Lowell, and then of course this guy Johnny Barker. Very good when it comes to long run.
Yeah, he's half a second faster than the guys in front of him, Brett, so he's definitely pushing the car and was saving for this run.
Yeah, that he was. So involved in the second yellow, able to rebound here into the top 10 as Barker should clear Coggins by the time they head off of turn number 4. It looks like that will be the case, so move the 6 car back into the top 10 here.
Yeah, and I don't think he's done yet, Brad. It looks like he's got the run on Branningham now here for position number 9.
Yeah, that he does all over the back bumper. I assume we'll see Barker look low into 3. Maybe not. We'll take his time with the pass here as Branningham run in the middle lane. Here comes Johnny Barker down low. Side-by-side battle into turn number 1. Barker still on the low side. Branningham running the middle lane, and off of turn number 4, Johnny Barker will take over P number 9. And you know, Carson, we got, looks like another battle here right around with Austin Smith, Frank Zingen. They getting around Stephen Holmes, so Holmes with that early pit stop, you know, tumbling through the order, now back to P number 14. So I don't know if that short pit really worked out, because even for Jeff Pogo, you know, 5.5 seconds back from Kenny Reel here.
Yeah, Brian, you can see the big disparity in lap times. Half a second off of the guy in front and then almost a second to Zingen, so based on the last lap speed. So I don't think the short pit was the move.
Yeah, and everyone has to make it to at least lap 130 to make it to the end on fuel, even with saving some fuel. So that is probably the next point when we will get our at least second start of some green flag pit stops. Is, you know, the first cars will be those guys with the Gateway Motorsports, those 3 that pitted at lap 60. Carson, we've been talking a lot. What do you say we take a little break, let the cars do the talking, and do a little turn 3, turn it up here?
I like it, Brett. Let's turn it up.
Alrighty, we'll be right back here after a quick turn 3, turn it up. Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Charlotte Motor Speedway after the turn 3, turn it up. We got some battle and still around that top 10 position, you know, still taking a look at this on screen. And Carson, during that stint there, we had Jim Ott come down pit road. Looks like a few more cars down this time, Eric Holly and Caleb Hatt.
So guys starting our second round of green flag pit stops here tonight, Brett.
Yeah, that they are. And look at here, Jeff Pogo down here on 120. He's going to be very, very close, and I think has to do some big time fuel saving by the end of this one. And I think we got to ride on board with our race leader, Kenny Reel. Let's get an idea for the speed around the speedway, as well as try and listen here and see what he's doing on the throttle and how he's driving this race car. As he'll duck low down the backstretch, let a car on fresh tires go on by. As the 90 is Stephen Holmes. So you can see though the tire fall off. I mean, Kenny Reel best lap a 29.76. Last time by there at the stripe with the car going around the high side at 31.1. So, you know, a second and a half of tire fall off, Carson. That is a lot.
Yeah, Brett, that's substantial, and it's just going to keep falling off more and more as this run goes on.
Yeah, and then looking inside of our top 10 here, Johnny Barker trying to get around the 21 of Rob Lowell. Once again, some teammates duking it on out here. Johnny Barker trying to flex those muscles on these long runs, and he's looking mighty impressive here.
Yeah, bro, we've been watching this car for a while now, and looks like he's got a run to the inside of Rob Lowell, putting up some good lap times here.
Yeah, that they are, as they will continue to stay side by side. As right behind them, Frank Zingen in the Out of the Woods Crafts machine, able to get around the W number 8 of Matthew Taylor. So Zingen with those fresher tires, then at least Rob Lowell, you know, will go on by very quickly. Now going to put the pressure on Johnny Barker.
Yeah, Rob Lowell there, Brett, got into the wall coming out of turn 4, so that's going to hurt him.
Yeah, that it will. You already see some right front damage on the 21. That damage never helping at these 1.5 miles, and some more wall hits, you know, just makes a bad night even worse, let's say. So at the moment, how they're running here, Carson, top 12 all on the lead lap. Excuse me, top 11 on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down is Jim Ott, last pitted on 114. So Ott has a little bit of distance to go over our race leader. And speaking about distances, let's take a look at the track map here on the right side of the screen. See where your favorite drivers are running, because we'll take a look here, highlight Kenny Reel, and like you mentioned before, Carson, Kenny Reel on an island of his own here.
Yeah, Brett, he's probably getting kind of bored out there, you know. There's nothing around him. It's just like running practice laps out there by yourself.
Yeah, that it is. It's just you and the race car at this point for Kenny Reel, but he's probably into it a little bit because, you know, you're in P number 1. That always hypes you up a little bit more out behind the wheel.
But you got no reference points, Brett. You don't got anyone to race around.
Yeah, you don't got any reference points of any other cars, and like you mentioned, it's like practice laps now. You know where you need to lift, let's say, on your own. So he's out there just clicking off laps here. As I got to give Dustin Coggin some credit, though, Carson. He's on about 8 lap older tires than Justin Brannahan, and he has kept the gap about the same and maybe even catching the 58 a little bit. So that 42, some pretty impressive stuff here tonight to keep the pace, because we saw, you know, half a second fall off from drivers with 10 lap old tires. So
Yeah, Brett, Dustin Coggin, a tenth faster that last lap, and drafting up on this 58 of Branningham. We'll have to see if he can make a move.
yeah, and he might have to use Jason Wiley to his advantage. You know, Wiley coming on through the field here once again, one of the last car to pit during the last green flag runs, but looks like Coggin going to try to make the move before Wiley gets there. They go side by side for P number 9 here and dive down into turn number 1. Branningham will just kiss the wall on entry. Here we go, 3 wide. They'll make it work here. As old man contact, somehow, once again, more contact.
Payback.
Yeah, some guys probably not too happy with each other. It's a 74 with fresh tires, trying to get on around, try not to lose too much time, as that time he will. Jason Wiley still held up just a little bit. It looks like Wiley trying to get around the inside lane, as now we see also Matt Taylor down on pit road. So yeah, Carson, this point I thought this is when now pit road will start to get crazy, with cars ducking on in for their final green flag pit stops of the night, but so far looking pretty quiet. Looks like only Matt Taylor down on pit road here at the moment.
Yeah, Brett, that serenity on pits won't last long. We'll be seeing them coming down here pretty soon.
Yeah, that is very, very true. As a $1:32 of the laps are completed so far of the 200, so getting ever so closer and closer to the end of the race. We'll run through the top 10 here before kind of most of the field heads down pit road. So Kenny Reel out in front, Christian Delgado running second. Third place is Steve Ritter, fourth going to Frank Zingen. Johnny Barker rounding out the top 5. Running in P number 6 is the 21 of Rob Lowe. 7th is Austin Smith. 8th, Dustin Coggin. 9th, Justin Branningham. And rounding out the top 10 here, Brandon Guerin in the number 1. It looks like 2 cars calling it an early night here, Carson. Looks like Chris Taylor and Michael Morrison both done with the event, but we still have 23 cars running out here tonight. But like we mentioned before, I believe only now the top 10 on the lead lap here, as another car on pit road. It is the 42 of Dustin Coggin, going to be one of the early guys in the top 10 here at the moment, down on pit road.
In tough breaks for both the 14 and 69, early incidents, Brett, and they just couldn't recover from them. So tough to see there, but we'll have to see how the rest of this race shakes out for the rest of these drivers.
Yeah, that we will, as taking a look at inside the top 10 for P number 4 here. Frank Zingen trying to get around Dan Dill, but this kind of allowed Johnny Barker to close on in. We'll see if Barker maybe has a rebuttal for the 62, as Barker able to reel back in the 62.
Yeah, again, we've seen it multiple times. They're running about the same lap time, so we'll have to see if he'll be able to get to him. He's going to have to find a little bit more speed.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do, as both those cars now get around Dan Dill. And now we have the 21 of Rob Lowell and the 30 of Ariba Caton, both down on pit road. And now some more takers. Christian Delgado, Steve Ritter, both down on pit road. So Carson, after tonight, next week, these drivers will try and tame the Lady in Black as we see our race leader, Kenny Reel, ducking down to pit road. But up next, Darlington, the Lady in Black, then they head to the Brickyard, and then Iowa Speedway, Talladega, Bristol. I mean, some very, very technical tracks coming on up. It should be exciting to watch.
Yeah, Brett, those are some fun tracks, and we'll see a lot more strategy racing, and we'll see these guys' racecraft get tested.
Yeah, that we will, because this season, these guys going back to a season-long point, so every race will matter. You know, they do have 2 drop weeks, so if you have a really bad week, you know, that could change. But at least looking at the points order here, Jeff Pogo, current points leader here, as, oh man, Carson, this race gets turned on its head. We have a yellow flag here.
And right when Kenny Reel was pitting too, Brett, so we'll have to see how this shakes out for him.
Yeah, that we will, as we'll try and take a look. At least on my scoring, it kind of shows the 11 car might have been involved with this yellow. We've got to take a look, see what happened. So here we go, looking at the replay, and yeah, Kenny Reel coming out of the box, lights up the rear tire, spins on the apron, and that's enough to bring out the yellow flag. I'm surprised that brought out the yellow, Carson, with the car spinning on the apron out of the way like that.
Yeah, Brett, I did not think he was involved. I just saw him pulling out of the pits, and I thought he was going to get the short end of the stick there, but he's the one who caused the caution, so that's a tough break for the 11 of Kenny Reel.
Yeah, that it is. That would keep him 1 lap down here, so he's going to have to wait for the 62 to come down pit road and, you know, wait till the wave around, let's say. So a big break for these guys rolling down pit road here. You know, the 62 of Frank Zingen, the 33 of Austin Smith, the 1 of Brandon Guerin, the 58 of Justin Branningham, and I believe the 4 of Jim Ott was able to get back on the lead lap here. So that will trap a lot of cars ineligible for the wave round here, as Jim Ott, you know, has quite a few drivers in front of him, but still quite a few drivers behind him that won't get the wave round. So 5 cars down on pit road, kind of the last 5 that have yet to pit, as everyone in front of Jim Ott here will get a wave round at the 1 to go mark. So Kenny Reel, Dan Dill, Ariba Kane, Steve Ritter, Matt Taylor, all those guys will get a lap back here before we go back green. But they'll have to be on the loud pedal because, you know, they only get 1 lap to try and catch the back end of the field.
As there's some confusion, bro, with the lineup here. Some drivers trying to figure out what iRacing is trying to do with the positioning of these cars.
Yeah, and that's going to be the tricky part with Kenny Reel spinning out where he did, as well as where Jim Ott was kind of running for position-wise. So definitely going to take some sorting out to do, as that caution, a very ill-timed one right in the middle of green flag pit stops.
And so many fast drivers, Brett, just getting the short end of the stick there, and we'll have to see if they can recover.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as we get the 1 to go signal. We'll see all those drivers get on the loud pedal, try and get back up to the field, as Jim Ott, Jeff Pogo making up the front row. And here real quick, while we got a yellow flag, of course, got to thank all the league sponsors and partners with this series. Of course, Riptide Radio, nice and big there. You can scan that QR code. That will take you to the app. You can download it for the best beach and boogie music from Ocean Drive in North Myrtle Beach. And I tell you what, a great sponsor to have. Also got to give a big shout out to Leaf Guard with the Pole Award. BG Graphix coming on with the Points Fund out of the Woods Craft. Stone and GStone Motorsports, and of course DTL Customs for all that they do with the league. Of course, all the admins to make sure this thing keeps running in the right direction, which it's been doing here, as well as all the drivers putting on the show for all of us to enjoy, Carson.
Yeah, Brett, some great sponsors and some great racing.
Yeah, that it is. As we get ready to go back, green flag racing here. Jim Ott leading the field of green. Jeff Pogo making up the front row. Here we go. We got to watch out, though. Some older tires might have some wheel spin as Jim Ott gets away with a great start there. Jeff Pogo maybe sleeping a little bit as the field, at least the top three, single filed as they dive down into turn number one. Brandon Guerin looks like we'll get Frank Zingen for fourth. Zingen rounding out the top five.
Some battling a little further back with Rob Lowell in the 42 car of Dustin Coggin. Up high, looks like the 7 might have gotten the wall there a little, Brett.
Oh man, some intense battling going out here on the speedway. As yeah, we've seen it all night, Carson. Very, very intense during these restarts, and now that we're closing in, with 50 to go, I think we'll see that ramped up even more. As Lowell big time in the wall off of turn number 2.
But he recovers, Brett. He didn't lose any spots from that.
Yeah, that he did. It could have been a lot worse for that driver, but able to hang out where he is with that damaged race car. As the guys we got to kind of keep an eye on, Kenny Reel, Matt Taylor, all those guys that just pitted and trying to make their way through the field. Kenny Reel back into 8th. As we see a battle for third here as Frank Zingen to the inside of Jeff Pogo. And I'm really surprised we didn't see anyone like Harrison Pogo come down pit road there, Carson, because they have about 30 lap old tires. I think we have a problem with our race leader, Jim Ott. I don't see him out on the speedway. We may have lost our race leader, and that would be a heartbreak.
Yeah, Brett, he just disappeared from reality there.
Yeah, so that would be a heartbreak. Jim Ott was the race leader. That actually put Jason Harrison in the lead for a lap, so 74 will get a bonus point for a lead lap. Now in the thick of it here, as 3 wide right behind him, but Frank Zingen out in front. Talk about a guy that has had no luck this season. Might be in the right place at the right time here at the end of this one. As everyone's still moving and shaking through the field here, Dustin Coggins looking very, very quick, but Coggins, one of those cars, Carson, 1 lap down. Him, Johnny Barker, both trapped there. I mean, Coggins has to be racing the 6 car because both those guys are racing for the lucky dog here.
Yeah, Brett, and right now the 6 looks like he's got the run on the inside. We'll have to see if he can get back on the lead lap. He'll be one to watch here at the end of this race.
Yeah, that he is, but he's going to have to hope for a yellow because from here on out, everyone can make it to the checkered flag, so he's going to have a little help from Lady Luck. As out in front, Frank Zingen leading over Brandon Guerin in 2nd. And then it is Austin Smith in 3rd, Jeff Pogo 4th, and then Justin Branaham in 5th. I tell you what, how about that top 5? I mean, very different from where we saw 50 laps ago.
Yeah, Brett, this caution has flipped this race on its head. It's brought so many more new names into the thick of it here at the end.
Yeah, that it has, but one name returning here to the top 5. Kenny Reel up into 5th, and he looks like he's a man on a mission.
Yeah, Brad, my guess would be he's extra motivated right now after that blunder off pits. He's probably driving harder than he has all race.
Yeah, that he has, and he's in traffic kind of for the first time here tonight. Probably had to relearn how to drive the car a little bit, as it gets quite a bit of dirty air from these cars out in front. But here we go. Johnny Barker getting the lap back the hard way here up top. Dustin Coggin's going to try and do the same.
Yeah, Brett, that's a scary position, though, for those guys, because they're not racing for the lead, but they're racing around the leader, and they really want to keep it clean and keep off of them, but you're pushing as hard as you can, and I'd be nervous.
Yeah, it's not one of the best feelings in the world if you're the likes of the 62 here, but all you can do is trust those other drivers, hit your marks, and hopefully, at least get some of the draft here. As here comes Christian Delgado. He's another one of those cars trapped one lap down. Looks like he will be able to get around our race leaders. So we may have a battle for the race lead, though, as Austin Smith got around Brandon Guerin. He's looking pretty sporty right there as well. So pretty much those four cars up top, all one lap down now. Johnny Barker, Christian Delgado, Dustin Coggins, and the 21 of Rob Lowell, all one lap down here. As Justin Branaham having some speed in that 58. He's trying to use up those tires here. Here comes Branaham up into second, and Kenny Reel is now on the back bumper of Brandon Guerin.
Yeah, Brett, we'll have to see what Kenny Reel decides to do here. He's got a big pack of cars up in front of him. We'll have to see if he's patient, waits for a gap to open, or if he pushes the envelope and puts it where there's not really a gap.
Yeah, and here we go. Battle for the race lead. Justin Branaham up top, Frank Zingen down low. They'll drag race to the stripe, and it looks like Branaham will lead that lap. And here comes now Brandon Guerin on the high side as well. And I tell you what, especially with these lap cars, you can throw a blanket over him. And Branaham from our race lead goes around on the backstretch. Man, oh man.
Yeah, it looks like Zingen, another one of those left rear hooks, and just spun Branaham into the inside wall.
Yeah, we'll take a look here at the replay, but if that's the case, we might not have too happy of some campers after that one. As we will take a look here, looking at full speed, and yeah, once again, Branaham slightly off the wall, but once we saw it many of times, seeing it again, Carson. Car on the bottom moving on up to try and side draft, probably not realizing how low the car is on top, and around they go. And that is a tough break, because that was the battle for the race lead there.
Yeah, tough break for the 58 there, and another big hit into the inside wall, second one we've seen here tonight.
Yeah, that was a big impact. So Branaham will have to come down, use up one of those fast repairs, probably get some fresh tires on that race car, but that will put him all the way back in at least the field of the lead lap cars. As we see Branaham, Zingen, Pogo, Taylor, Arison, Holmes, Barker, Coggin, Raposa, Holly, all down on pit road. Looks like only about 4 or 5 cars stayed out on the racing surface. That's going to be a tough call from here, because if you stay on out, I think you're kind of banking that there's going to be another yellow to take some tires, because we've seen how important all night those tires are, and at least for most of these guys, at least about 15 laps on these tires already.
Yeah, Brand, those 15 laps will make a huge difference in lap times. The guys who are pitting now definitely have the advantage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As with that yellow and cars pitting, this would now move Brandon Guerin to our race lead. Austin Smith in second, Kenny Reel third, Steve Ritter fourth. And then Christian Delgado, he ran the high side, got the lap back the hard way. That will allow him to restart in the 5th position. So the likes, of Delgado, Barker, and Coggin getting a nicely timed yellow there because they're all back on the lead lap. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but was it the 13 of Jason Wiley, our wave round, or was it Dan Dill?
Looks like it was the 13 car, Brett. The 81 is currently in the pits.
All right, so it was Jason Wiley, our lucky dog there. So that will now move once again 14 cars on the lead lap. As the lights go out, the field will re-rack, restack, and here we go, Carson. We thought this race was crazy. We have a restart with 40 laps to go.
Oh man, Brad, this is going to be exciting. They're really going to be dicing up here. It's coming into crunch time.
Yeah, that it is. It looks like we got an Austin Smith fan out there cheering on the number 11. And Austin Smith, best restart of the night for him, will start outside of the front row. But the man leading us back to green will be the 1 car. MP number 1. It is Brandon Guerin leading the field to green flag. But he'll have a hungry number 11 right behind him as well. Carson, you want to lead us into the restart?
Like Brandon Garand is going to lead us off here. Slowing it up and then getting on the loud pedal. The 11 following him, and a bad restart on the outside for the 33 car of Austin Smith. Really checking up the high line.
Yeah, that he is. Luckily, no big accordion effect where we had restart melee, but Austin Smith not with the restart he wanted. Brandon Guerin, Kenny Reel with the restart. His car's wrecking in the back. Johnny Barker slow against the wall. Looks like he may have gotten some help there. Caleb Hatt with some damage as well. And looks like, Carson, we stay green out here as no yellow flag thrown for that. As we'll have a couple cars heading to pit road. Looks like Dustin Coggins, Caleb Hatt, as well as a tough break for Johnny Barker. Carson,
yeah,
I don't know if you can go back and watch it and see what happened. We'll go back up to the front, though, here.
It started with the 6 car. I heard him mic up there, so let's see what happened. On the inside here, actually the 42 on his outside of Dustin Coggin got really loose, and the 6 was coming up. 42 was spun down and clipped his right rear, and then 6 was stuck on the wall, and that was it, Brett.
Dang, so another hard hit for Johnny Barker. Lady Luck is not on his side here tonight at Charlotte, that is for sure. But out in front, Brandon Guerin leading the way over Kenny Reel. Kenny Reel has tracked down the number 1. We'll look to the inside, side by side for the race lead as they dive down into turn number 1. Reel will wrap that painted inside line. Will clear Guerin off at turn number 2. Kenny Reel back out in front with about 37 laps to go. But don't look now, Carson. Last week's winner, Jeff Pogo, and our points leader, pitted that time for fresh tires. He is up into P number 3.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the 1 car of Brandon Guerin here will be able to hold up to 97 of Pogo. It seems like he's the faster car on the track.
Yeah, that he is with those fresh tires. It's going to be a tall order for Guerin to defend because Pogo with those new tires can go anywhere on the racetrack that a car's not as. Pogo will hit the wall hard, but a yellow flag out, Carson.
We got a big wreck behind these guys.
Yeah, it looks like the 74 machine involved. He will get it rolling here, and you said it was a big wreck.
Yeah, 74 coming up off the bottom there. got into Branningham and pinched the 33 of
Austin
Austin Smith,
Smith.
yeah, into the outside wall.
Yeah, that was a big time hit. 3 wide racing gone wrong there. Looks like maybe Branningham left maybe too much room for Austin Smith, and maybe Harrison didn't realize there were 3 wide, but that is a big hit for the 74. A lot of front end damage to that car. Luckily, most of the field able to sneak on by, but that will slow the field down here tonight, Carson, for the 6th time, as Kenny Reel saw the speed of Jeff Pogo. So Kenny reeled down. He will bring down the cars that did not pit the last time.
Yeah, just a tough break there for Austin Smith there. Nothing he could do, just an innocent bystander and 2 other drivers' mess.
Yeah, that is for sure. So a tough break for the 33, but luckily I believe he does have a fast repair in the pits, as Eli Raposa now going to be our lucky dog. So that leaves 5 cars that pitted last on 157. Our top 5 going to be Jeff Pogo, Matthew Taylor, Frank Zingen, Stephen Holmes, and Jason Wiley. And if Kenny Reel does win the race off the pit road, he will restart 6th, and we'll have to see what the difference of about 8 lap worth of green flag running does for these tires here.
How many cars are we getting waved around here, Brad?
Just one, just the 46 of Eli Raposa. So I believe with him back on the lead lap, that will now move 13 cars on the lead lap, as you know, Dustin Coggins, Johnny Barker got now trapped multiple laps down. And with us under the yellow flag, we're gonna go to commercial break, and we'll be right back here for the restart, for our 6th restart of the night. Alrighty, folks, we come back here to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the World 200, the World 300. As here we go, Jeff Pogo leading the field to green, Matt Taylor to his outside, and Carson mentioned it during that break, Jim Ott back out on the speedway, but all the way back in 20th position. Man, that's got to be a heartbreak.
Yeah, tough break for him tonight, Brett, but at least coming back into the server, it looks like he's gained 2 spots. So tough break, but salvaging what he can.
Yeah, and that's the key with the season-long points, is you got to get every point you can, because you never know how it's going to shake out in the end. But here we go. iRacing pace car down from pit road, and Jeff Pogo into the restart zone. And we are back. Green flag racing here. A great start once again for the inside lane. Matt Taylor able to slot down low as we look a little bit further back here. And we got to keep an eye on this 11 car. How can he get through the field here with about 30 laps to go? Brandon Guerin, big time moment off of turn number 2. He'll go below the apron. Keep that car facing the right direction here. But out in front, Jeff Pogo leading the way over Matthew Taylor, Frank Zingen in 3rd, Stephen Holmes 4th, Kenny Reel in 5th, Jason Wiley 6th, Justin Branningham now up into 7th, Christian Delgado 8th, Steve Ritter 9th, and Brandon Guerin rounding out the top 10 here. As we see,
Big check for Ritter. Gear into the inside, 3 wide for a moment. It's going to be 3 wide again here with the 47.
Yeah, more contact going into turn number 1 here. As more
Gordon.
contact. These guys still 3 wide here. As it looks like finally get 2 on wide. Man, that could have been very bad there very quickly.
And speaking of the 33 of Austin Smith, tough break for him tonight. He is out of the race now, so he's in someone else's mess, and his race comes to an end that way. That's unfortunate for him, Brett.
Yeah, and someone in the chat said it the best. Austin Smith has bad luck or no luck, and that kind of continues here tonight. As last time by, Jeff Pogo with his best lap of the session. These guys are flying out here, knowing it's a sprint to the end.
As we have a gaggle of cars here from 6th on back as, Jason Wiley gets doored by Branningham, and now, Branningham trying to slide in front of him, not enough room, and these guys still under a blanket.
Yeah, very tight racing here just outside of the top 5. It looks like Branningham able to get on by. I was going to mention, at least the drop of the green flag on that restart. This 58 has looked very sporty. It's right behind them, 3 wide here. Harrison getting ping-ponged on around, and he goes around in turn number 1.
Yeah, Brett, I feared that. They were so tight together there, all those cars, like, separated by inches.
Yeah, and Harrison once again in another 3 wide situation, making pretty significant contact to the outside wall. And, man, another kind of tough break there for the 74, but very similar situation that we saw in the last yellow. As we'll take a look here, that 74 got ping-ponged on around with the 31 down low, the 13 up top, and once again, a 74 facing the wrong way and into the outside wall for our 7th yellow flag of the night here. So that slows the pace as we get close, well, I should say very close to our countdown clock here with once we get to 25 laps to go.
That 74, Brad, has quite the excitement here in his race tonight, but I don't think it's the kind of excitement he would like.
Yeah, I would agree. Some very intense racing, 3 wide racing here once again. As with this another yellow, I believe the 81 of Dan Dill will be our lucky dog, so that will put Dan back on the lead lap. As Carson, you want to know a fun fact here with 25, well, coming up to 25 to go.
Let me hear it.
We have hit the 2-hour mark of the broadcast. So these guys have almost been racing 2 hours. You know, you take out the about 3 minutes I was live before that, and then 5 minutes. So here in 8 minutes, these guys will be racing for 2 hours straight.
Uh-oh, we got some angry drivers out here, Brett.
Oh, who do we got beefing out there? You can at least say car numbers. What kind of car numbers are we hearing?
Well, we got some chatter between the 21 and the 74 right now.
Oh, man. As Carson, you were tuning in a lot with turn 3 this weekend with the 24. I know quite a few drivers from this league also partook in the Daytona 24. So, you know, a long race here tonight, and then all that racing before that, you know, I bet quite a bit of drivers exhausted after the amount of sim racing, because I know for myself, those 2.5 hours in those road course cars at Daytona, man, you're ready for a nap after that.
I'm tired just from watching your 24, Brett.
Yeah, I tell you what, Carson, what do you think you were, about 16 hours viewed of that stream?
My thumbs were getting tired. I was in that chat like a crazy man.
Yeah, you were. It was awesome to read all of them, keeping us entertained. So gotta, of course, give you a big shout out to that. And whoever did do some 24 racing, hopefully your race went good. I know with the ASRC team that I was a part of, finished second in our class in the GT3. So at the end of the day, if you finish the 24, I mean, that's just a win in the books for itself.
As we still have some chatter, Brett. This getting chippy at the end.
Yeah, it is. Temper's gonna keep on rising, as well as the aggression level. We'll click it up to about an 8 out of 10 as we go back to green flag racing. Jeff Pogo, Matthew Taylor, front row, here we go. Pogo gets away with a good start. Taylor gets a great start on that high lane. Those two will be by themselves as the rest of the field will dive into turn number 1, 2 by 2. Kenny Reel will quickly get up to 4th position as we see Stephen Holmes and Steve Ritter duke it out for P number 5. Zingen will get a little bit tight at the apex there, wash on up. That opens up the door for Kenny Reel on the inside lane.
Kenny Reel looking like he's going to clear here coming out of 2. We'll have to see if he has enough speed to catch those lead 2.
Yeah, and that he should. About a half a second back so far here. The cars we got to keep an eye on. Kenny Reel, of course, and then the other, Steve Ritter. Both those guys pitted about 10 laps ago, about 10 lap newer tires. Then the 5 cars that did not pit. One of those, of course, being the 62. The other being the 90 of Stephen Holmes. So those guys just trying to hang on to what they can. As battle for the race lead out in front, Matthew Taylor to the inside of Jeff Pogo. And these guys got to be smart about this battle because they stay side by side. Kenny Reel's going to catch even quicker, but they know this is the battle for the win here, Carson.
We've seen this story before with the guy on the inside. Hopefully we can keep it clean, and we'll have to see if Matt Taylor can get a run here and get around Pogo.
Yeah, Matt Taylor, one of those drivers starting to come into his own mid-season. Have been seeing him more and more in those top 5s here. And now Matt Taylor to the race lead. Last time he was leading a race, Carson, was the All-Star Triple Check Challenge. Try and say that 5 times fast.
Too many C's.
Yeah, definitely a tongue twister there, as almost 3 wide further in this pack. But Carson, this top 10 packed on up. They're racing hard with 19 to go. Some great racing for the race lead, and further on back, Pogo able to defend on the high lane. Here comes Kenny Reel, going to look to the inside of the 8.
Yeah, Brett's getting real racy here. Everyone's pushing as hard as they can. This is time to go.
Yeah, definitely go time here as Taylor up to the top side. Kenny Reel down low. We're right on board with Matthew Taylor. Now looking at the battle right behind him for the 4th position as Steve Ritter will clear the 62 of Frank Zingen. And you can hear the tires screeching, these guys going at it, and here we go. Going at it for the race lead. Kenny Reel down low. Jeff Pogo up top. Off of turn number 2. Kenny Reel will clear him. Kenny Reel out in front with 17 to go.
Man, Brett, that 11 car is fast.
Yeah, it is, as Kenny Reel coming into his own here, especially he won the All-Star Challenge there, and he has looked very, very good since then. And same with that 97. If these guys keep it up, Carson, these two could be the ones really duking it out the rest of the season.
Yeah, Brad, I can see why these guys are fast.
Yeah, oh so good on both the short, the long run, how they battle, what kind of moves they have to make in the car. As here comes now Steve Ritter to join in the fight as well. Ritter will clear Taylor down the backstretch. As Christian Delgado tries to get up in the mix as well. Delgado, another one of those cars with those slightly fresher tires. As Delgado gets the wall, Zinga gets into the side of him. Big time damage to the right front of the 62. And he will lose a handful of spots there in the tri-oval.
Yeah, unfortunate break for the 62. He's having a great run, like you were saying, Brad, and now he's dropped back to P7.
Yeah, I think now all the way back to P number 9 once it's said and done as well, so even worse. Should be able to hang on to a top 10, but probably not the finish he was hoping for. So Kenny Reel out in front, able to create a little bit of a gap though, as we got a battle for second. Steve Ritter trying to take over the runner-up spot from Jeff Pogo.
And again, a side-by-side battle. Now looks like Pogo tucks in front of him. We'll have to see if, Ritter's got to run here, Brett, coming off too.
Yeah, that he does. It's going to be a very tight drag race off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. And this battle's far from over because here comes Christian Delgado right behind them.
So, a little contact there between Delgado and Matt Taylor.
Yeah, and Steve Ritter with a moment off of turn number 4, and then the tri-oval 3 wide for P number 3 here. Ritter, the meat in the sandwich, stuck in the middle lane here. He will get stuck there as Branham will take over up on the top lane. Man, some intense battle in here at the end of this one.
Yeah, guys laying it all on the line, Brad, here. Got nothing to lose in these last 10 laps. Every position counts, like you said, for the points.
Yeah, that it does here, as Pogo able to defend that spot. He will take over second and kind of on his own. Now it is the 58 of Justin Branham, a man on a mission. Branham up top of 3 wide once again. Matt Taylor on those old tires just trying to hang on to that race car. Everyone single files out for a second. Carson can catch our breath, but I think this is far from over as Jeff Pogo still on those older tires, going to try and hold off a very hungry 31 and 58 as Taylor gets the wall big time off of turn number 2. That will probably let Steve Ritter on by, so that'll put Ritter back in the top 5.
This 8 car right now dropping like a rock, and so is the 62 Zing, and both those guys got some damage and are now dropping hard.
Yeah, damage will do that to you, especially here on iRacing. It will cost you about at least a 10th or 2 a lap. As here we go, battle for a second. Christian Delgado, Jeff Pogo side by side. They will stay side by side here through turns 1 and 2. As Pogo was able to defend Ritter up top, it's going to be a harder task here with Delgado as those tires continue to wear on these race cars. Kenny Real, though, not missing anything. He's out in front, checking out in front as Delgado will clear Pogo for the runner-up position.
Yeah, but I don't think Pogo. That's the end. That's the last we're gonna hear of him. I don't think he's gonna go silently into the night, Brett.
Yeah, I don't think so as well. Further on back, Brandon Guerin will get around Matthew Taylor, so that will be for P number 6 there. Is Taylor going to try the crossover here, see if he can make that 8-car stick on the bottom lane. Looks like Guerin able to defend here at the moment. Further on back, we have Eli Raposa and Stephen Holmes duking it on out. That is just inside the top 10 for P number 9. Looks like Raposa able to hang on there. And how about this? Dan Dill, our wave round car, I believe 2 cautions ago, able to get some tires. He's now battling for 7th with Matthew Taylor.
Yeah, Brett, 81 has had some tough luck here tonight, but looking like he's trying to salvage a really nice finish, hopefully getting in the top 7.
Yeah, and hopefully that good finish I'm sure he'll want that to carry over to the Bills, as I believe that game is underway. No spoilers here on the broadcast because we'll be tuning on in here at the end. Speaking about the end, Carson, 3 laps to go. Justin Brandenham, Steve Ritter side by side. These guys will continue to stay side by side. Steve Ritter really wants to get around Jeff Pogo because they are sitting 1st and 2nd in the standings, but this time by at the stripe, Carson. Popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go for Kenny Real.
Yeah, Brett, will anyone have the chance to catch him? He's got a pretty big lead. I don't know if it'll be possible.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit too late for any of these guys unless we get a yellow flag before this white flag comes, because once this white flag is displayed, they're racing back to the line here on iRacing. That's Kenny Real at the stripe. We'll see the white flag. 1 more lap to go. So Brandenham able to defend over Ritter. Now further on back, Dan Dill working over Brandon Guerin in 1 and 2. Dan will have the run down the backstretch. It's going to be very close for that 6th position off of turn number 4. But off of turn number 4, Kenny Real will pick up the win here tonight at Charlotte. Justin Brandenham able to defend, and at the stripe, Dan Dill will just get Brandon Guerin. Wow, Carson.
That was really close, Brett.
That was very close between the 81 and the 1, but a great...
1,000.
What was it?
1,000.
Wow, 1,000 between the 2 of them. As Kenny Real, again, some congratulations from some of his fellow competitors. But don't go anywhere, folks, because after Kenny Real burns it on down here, we'll be talking to our top 3 in our post-race show. Carson, anything you want to mention about this 11 car as he burns it on down here at the front stretch of Charlotte?
Well, Brett, it seemed like the cream of the crop rose to the top at the end there. I thought someone like Pogo or Delgado would give him a little bit more of a run and not go silently into the night, but in the end, it was Kenny Real just holding them off and doing what he did all race.
Yeah, that he did, able to cash in on the checker flag, even with the mistake off of pit road and the little bit of adversity the 11 had to climb. He will be walking away with, I believe, his let me double check here. But this will be his second win of the season. And I think for the league, Carson, this makes Kenny Real the first driver in 802 history to win 10 races, making him on his own island.
Wow, congrats on that milestone, Kenny Real.
Yeah, big time stuff. Very cool accomplishments there. And yeah, that is. He came into tonight tied with Rob Lowell and John Ross with 9. Kenny Real on his own down in victory lane. Now 10 wins with this series. Alrighty, Carson. Well, we'll go to commercial break. We'll be right back after a few moments, folks, and get ready with our post-race show. Don't go anywhere. We got some more action coming to you, folks.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we come back here to Charlotte Motor Speedway and going to be changing up the order just a little bit on who we're talking to. We're actually going to be talking to our race winner first because he has to roll here in a few short moments. So we're going to chat with our race winner, Kenny Real. Kenny, do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, we know you got to be somewhere here shortly.
Yeah.
What do you got on the docket here?
I got a visitation with somebody, so.
Alrighty, well, we'll try and keep it short. Let us know if when you got to cut things. But overall, man, what a race here at Charlotte. You were flying out here tonight.
Yeah, I love Charlotte. Charlotte's my favorite, one of my favorite tracks. It took me a while after driving it to get it down, but when I finally got it down, I've been fast here ever since, and I just love the track. And I was excited coming here tonight. I almost didn't do it because I did a Daytona 500 event literally right before this race that lasted 4 hours, so I was already tired from 200 laps of Daytona, but decided to come out here and race it, and glad I did.
Yeah, so you're up to 400 laps on the day, Kenny. How are we feeling after that? That's got to be exhausting.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I bet. And Kenny here tonight, like we said, had a great car. That thing looked quick, but, had to battle some adversity. What kind of happened coming off of pit road and how that changed the mindset there for the 11?
I knew about the bump, so when I was coming off pit road, I was like half throttle waiting to get over, and then it just came out from under me, and I whipped it around real quick because I did not want to caution because I had such a big lead, and even me whipping it around, I knew I wouldn't have lost too much time. I still would have had a decent lead, and then it came out, and I was like, well, there's that. So pretty much, I thought I ruined my own race. I kind of trolled myself in the end, but still worked out.
Yeah, and with that yellow, coming out at an ill time for you, just coming off of pit road, that sets you deep in the field, having to battle around these cars. I mean, we saw some very intense racing, and it seemed like it was tough to pass because once you got side by side, you could really side draft a car and keep them right next to you.
Yeah, especially on longer runs, it's really hard when the tires even out to uh, get by someone on the low side because they can just get the run off the corner and just keep you there. So,
Yeah,
but all in all, I had fresher tires at the end and it helped.
yeah, and let's go back to that call. So some drivers pitting on that like 157 lap, you pit 165. I mean, I assume you saw Jeff Poe go slicing his way through the field, and I assume that's why he came down. But
yeah,
that's kind of got to be a little worrisome too, because you never know if there's going to be another yellow. Let's say.
Yeah. When we had the caution, literally like 5 laps later, I was like, "See, I should have pit here." But you never know. So if I didn't take tires, it would have went green. I would have, end up not being here talking to you guys. So I just decided to take tires and hoped it worked out, and it did.
Yeah, that it did. So, Kenny, we'll let you go here in just one moment. We know you got places to be. So, before we let you go and celebrate your win, this was win number 10 of your career here at 802. So, you break the tiebreaker. You're the first driver with 10 wins in this league history. How does that feel, my man?
Oh, it feels good. It's a nice little accomplishment, but I can't thank my teammates enough for helping me out around the track and doing the things they do. So it's not just credit to me, it's credit to my teammates.
Yeah, those teammates always help you get faster, be better, and all that good stuff. So, Kenny, before we let you go, partied up down in Victory Lane, we're going to go hand over the mic to you one last time and thank who you got to thank, either tuning in on the broadcast, some sponsors on the car, or, of course, like you mentioned before, those all-important teammates.
I just want to give a shout out to my teammates. We remade our team name the Penny Stackers. So all of my teammates over there, my sponsor Premier Setups. If you need a setup, go look over there. All the sponsors for the league: Leaf Guard, BG Graphics, DTL Customs, Rob, and all the admins for putting it on. You guys for putting on the broadcast, and yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, awesome job once again, Kenny. A big win here tonight, win number 10 of your career with this league. So, my man, go celebrate it and have a great rest of your night.
I appreciate you guys. You too.
Thank you very much. That was our race winner, Kenny Reel, getting the job done and picking up his 10th career win. Awesome stuff there.
Yeah, congrats to him, Brett. Great drive here tonight.
Yeah, that it was for him, and yeah, big time congratulations. And now we'll head over to our runner-up finisher, that being the 31 machine of Christian Delgado. Christian, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, man. Finishing P number 2 here tonight, the second biggest mover of anyone in the field. Tell us a little bit about your races. This race pretty much had it all, let's say.
Yeah, it was probably one of the more eventful races this season. But yeah, once again, as I've documented here in these interviews before, just not not a good qualifier. So started back there in the back of the field, and yeah, I knew I had to be aggressive on the start, like I did at Atlanta. I think the same scenario really. I think I started P18 there as well, and I knew I had to be aggressive to at least get some spots made up, and then I just kind of sat there, I think around like 9th or 10th place, and saved tires, and I knew the top was going to be really fast tonight, but I knew it was also going to kill your tires. So I saw a bunch of people ripping the wall and having a good time up there, but I knew that at the end of the run there, it was going to show. So I just kind of ran the bottom the whole race, basically. I'm trying to put those left sides on the apron, especially there in 1 and 2, and I bike up to what I think P2 by the end of that first pit run, and Kenny pitted on the same lap, kind of the same thing. I had to drive. I just caught the lap traffic at the worst time, and Kenny got through the lap traffic and just the traffic way better than I did, and got out to like a 5-6 second lead, and then kind of just trying to cruise there, and then out obviously right in the middle of green flag pit stops that third run. We pitted we were one of the last people to pit, and iRacing auto fuel, you love to see it. Gave us just a tick, uh, not enough fuel to make it to the end. So I guess Kenny, he said he was the one who caused the caution. He spun out coming out of pit road, and as I was entering pit road is when the caution came out. So it gave me a penalty, obviously, for entering close pits, and obviously I got it cleared. But iRacing, I don't know what it is with the scoring system or whatever, put me a lap down, even though I was on the lead lap. So during that restart, was forced to kind of use my stuff up, get around the leaders, get back on the lead lap the hard way. Luckily, we got a caution shortly after, and then I felt like after that one caution came out, it kind of, cautions breed cautions, as they say, and we got an opportunity to come down, take our last set of tires, and I knew we had to be aggressive with some of those guys on older tires, so we're going 2-3 wide. I kind of putting some guys in some bad spots, but we made it happen, and yeah, just Jeff and I don't remember who was in third at the time was just racing me super hard. I was like, "Come on, man! Like, I got fresh tires. I gotta go get Kenny." But it's their right to race me as hard as they can to keep those spots. And by the time I got around Jeff, it was just too little, too late. I was catching Kenny about a tenth, half a tenth a lap, but I think I got clear of Jeff around 5 to go, and just not enough time to go up there and try to race Kenny for that win.
Yeah, that it definitely seemed like, Christian. Yeah, you mentioned it there. Some very, very tight battling there at the end. Some 3 wide racing, even involving you. I mean, how crazy was it inside this race car there at the end, knowing that some drivers had slightly older tires and you knew you had to go?
Yeah, it was definitely chaotic. Yeah, I know there's that one time that caution came out. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I got put through wide there, and I don't know if the guy in the middle, if the guy on the top was not giving enough room, or the guy in the middle was trying to pinch me down, but he actually shoved me in the grass, and when that happens, sometimes, you're in the grass, there's no traction down there. Obviously, that's why they put that AstroTurf down there. They don't want the drivers going down there, and when I got shoved down there, the car just went straight, and fortunately, gotten to the side of whoever, I think that was the 74 or something, and fortunately another caution came out. Didn't want that to happen, but really, it was out of my hands once I got pushed down there. Yeah, it was super chaotic. I I hate like putting guys in positions to potentially, get me wrecked, because that's how you get wrecked, right? Is putting yourself in that spot. I try to be as conservative as I can when it comes to making spots up. Try to be pretty patient, but when we came out there and I got that call 20 to go, I didn't even realize it was that close to the finish. I was like, oh man, I gotta go, and I gotta go now. I know I got fresh tires. I know Kenny, had the track position. I knew he was probably the guy to beat tonight, and he really showed it. And I knew I had to go, but yeah, definitely treacherous trying to get through the, some of the older tires, but luckily, we got through it somewhat relatively clean, and sitting up here in the podium.
Yeah, that is definitely awesome. Looking over at kind of big picture wise, getting closer to the halfway point in the season. Let's say you sit, 4th overall in positions, the second here tonight, beating Jeff Pogo. That was probably one of the biggest things you needed to do, but making up points with all the drivers kind of in front of you in the standings, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I knew I had to stay in front of Jeff, at least on the finish here, to keep myself in a fight. It sucks for Jim that he DC'd with about 50 to go. He was probably a top 3 car as well, on a relatively on the same strategy me and Kenny were on, and sucks for him. I know that's gonna hurt him in points a lot, but Kenny's up there as well. Those 2 drop races he had were are really helping him, because I know he wasn't able to race for a couple weeks because of him, I think, being banned on iRacing actually. But I know Kenny's up there, but yeah, I knew being ahead of Jeff was a huge thing. Obviously, 1 point isn't a whole lot, but I mean, we're making those baby steps to try to crawl our way back into this thing.
Yep, and especially season-long points, every point matters. So once again, Christian, congrats on the runner-up finish. Another finish, you guys get to talk to us. Probably always a great feeling. So once again here, man, we're going to hand the mic over to you and thank who you got to thank. Either sponsors on the car, some of those all-important teammates, or maybe even someone tuning on in to the broadcast.
First of all, I just have to give a huge shout out to the admins and Rob, the guy who puts this stuff on. Got to thank all the admins like Steve Ritter and all those guys who kind of put the show on and do all the hard work in the background. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how much work it takes to put on a league and make sure everything's going right. So got to give a huge shout out to all those guys who I know put their time and effort into making this thing go around. Got to give a huge shout out to the league sponsors: BG Graphics, Leaf Guard, Riptide Radio, obviously Turn 3 Racing Network, DTL Customs, GStone, all those guys for helping us out. Out of the Woodworks, I think, is one of them as well. So got to thank all of them for hopping on board and making this league still run and stuff. Obviously, it's not cheap to put on a league like this with a bunch of great drivers here. I think the drivers for racing me at least pretty clean. Had a lot of fun battling and getting up here. But gotta thank my partners here. Coffee. We have him on the primary today. Thank you, Patrick, for doing everything you can for me and being a part of my life and making sure I'm taken care of. Gotta shout out to Track Racer for hooking me up with the rig and being a huge supporter of everything else. Gotta give a huge shout out to the Bean team. Thank you, Jeff, Soli, Matthew, Peter, Carter, all those guys over there for making me a better person on and off the track. We just got done doing the 24 Hours of Daytona in the top 10 in the LMP2 class with our first run there. So super proud of everything we've done with that. Gotta give a huge shout out to Steel Car Detailing and Steel Customs. Thank you, Titan, for everything you do and helping me out with the sponsorship and everything else. Gotta give a huge shout out to SimMotion.com. Thank you to everybody over at SimMotion. They've been a great group of guys and gals, putting in work and stuff like that. Go check us out. Go check them out at SimMotion.com. Go use code 802 for 5% off your order. I really recommend anything they do. They got a lot of great products and a lot of great stuff for your sim racing needs. And lastly, you got to give a huge shout out to High Velocity TV. If you guys are looking for a broadcast that isn't Turn 3 Racing, obviously you guys, Brett and all the guys over there, do a great job. But if you guys are looking for a league, we put on a really good broadcast. We got some really cool custom overlays and custom tickers. So if you guys looking for a broadcast, make sure to shoot us over an email at hvtvbroadcasting.com. hvtvbroadcasting at AOL.com. Sorry, I'm tired. And lastly, got to give a huge shout out to the people over at twitch.tv/ChristianBoss13. Thank you guys for rooting me on and making me a better person, encouraging me to be better on and off the track and all that stuff. I wouldn't probably be racing without the support over there. And lastly, Brett, I got to thank you guys over at Turn 3 Racing and especially you for putting on that broadcast. I personally know how hard and difficult and sometimes entertaining it is to, get all the work put together, make sure you know all the facts about the drivers and the track and making sure everything is put together well. So I know I am and everybody else on the track and, the admins and everything are super appreciative of what you can do, putting on a great show for the fans at home.
Alrighty, well, always appreciate the kind word there, Christian. And that broadcast you do, always some cool stuff there. So once again, congrats on the second. And man, you finally get a little bit of rest. Sounds like you had a lot of racing this weekend.
Thanks a lot, Brett.
Alrighty, well, thanks again, Christian. That was Christian Delgado, our runner-up finisher. Garson, do you have anything to add? If you are there.
Yeah, Brett, good run from him. A lot of people to thank, but he ended up with a nice P2 here tonight, star 19, so I think he's the second biggest mover tonight, so good job by him.
Yep, he was. So an awesome job by Christian. And now let's head over to our third place finisher. That is the 97 here of Jeff Pogo. Jeff, do you got a copy?
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, man. Pete number 3, Whistle Mold Tires. How are we feeling after 200 laps?
About like I thought I'd feel with those old tires.
Probably excited to get out of that race car.
Excited for those cautions to be over there at the end.
Yeah, that seemed like you had the move there with pitting on, I think it was 157 there at the end, but then get a caution right after that allows the other drivers to pit. I mean, if we didn't have that yellow, I mean, man, that seemed like it was the move of the race.
Yeah, it might have been. I contemplated if it was going to be too early because usually the cautions breed the cautions, so I thought there was going to be a couple more. And I was like, well, if I don't take tires, then it'll probably go green to the end and I'll be screwed. But if I do take tires, it might be a little early, but I know I can at least run the high line. So if someone with fresher gets under me, I can usually, pinch them down or keep my momentum on the outside.
Yeah, and that was very impressive for you to hang on to P number 3. Those cars with those fresher tires were putting a ton of pressure on you, able to defend Steve Ritter, one of the best in the league, and Justin Branham there at the end. I mean, how difficult was it for you behind the wheel those last 40 laps?
I mean, it was a little difficult. You got to keep your momentum up on the outside, not give them guys your right rear quarter. But then you also got to be able to throttle up enough and not push and smack the wall. So it was difficult. I knew if I could run someone on the outside and pinch them down and cause them to lose some momentum, the guy behind him would get next to him maybe, and then they race side by side for 2 laps or so, which would buy me a little time. It worked a little bit. It worked a couple times for me, so I mean, pretty successful that I held on for third, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That was very impressive to see you hang on to P number 3 like you did, racing around people. And we saw all night long some very, very intense racing, and you were part of that even at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, I got behind a little bit there. I mean, you try not to go too early, burn up your stuff. So start of the race, I waited about 10 laps and then started to make my move on the outside of everybody, which was working for the 2 laps that I got to do it. And then got caught up in that incident there with Rob and I think it was Brandon. He just came back up the track, not his fault. And I got a piece of it and had to fix some damage. So went back to the back and didn't take tires, didn't take fuel, none of that. Just fixed the damage, saved my quick repair, and then drove from the back up to 6th, I think, before the next caution. So managed what I could.
Yeah, that you did, and kind of a strategy call by you and your team there, pitting on lap 60, very, very early, but I assume pitting kind of early at the beginning to make sure you make it there at the end was probably the thought process.
Yeah, it was, and I felt like my car was never 100% after I fixed the damage. I mean, it says you don't have any damage left, but I'm sure there's still something crinkled or whatever. So it just felt like speed was a little bit off, so I had to shortcut it to try to make up the little bit of a deficit.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was going to work out, but of course, those yellows once again falling in the middle of green flag pit stops, putting this race on its head, but kind of worked out for you in the grand scheme of things when it fell with pitting early.
Yeah, even throughout the race, I mean, Kenny was class of the field all night. There's no doubt about it. I don't think I would have had anything for him even if I was on the same tires. But and then Christian, man, he's hard to race too. He's clean. He'll put it on your door, and I mean, you see us make contact a few times, but that's the stuff I like, man. Clean, hard racing. If we can touch and not wreck, I'm all for it. So I don't know. I finished about where I thought I would. I was really just hoping for a top 5 coming in the night, keep my top 5 streak alive. So worked out.
Yeah, that it did, and does keep that top 5 streak rolling, because I believe for this season now, you go out there and top 5 percentage gonna get better, but coming into tonight, top 5s, and 63% of the time you load into a session, you're in the top 5 and continuing that here tonight. Very impressive.
That's what you just got to try to do week in and week out. It sucks that Jim had that disconnect because he was fast tonight too. I think he'd have been up there. I don't know if I would have had anything for Jim either, so that might have been another spot loss for me. But that's the thing with sim racing. The internet connection can ruin your night.
Yep, it's kind of like the mechanical failures of real life racing.
It is. That's the way you got to look at it, honestly.
Yeah, and definitely a tough break for Jim there. You hate to see it any time for anyone having that happen. But yeah, Jeff, walking away still with the points lead as we get ever so closer to the halfway mark. But coming on up, some pretty technical tracks. How we feeling with the schedule in front of us? Darlington, Indianapolis, then I think Iowa after that.
Well, I'll miss Darlington next week. I'll be down in Daytona for the 24 hours. Actually leave on Wednesday morning. So I'll miss Darlington, but Indy, you can look for me to hopefully be good there. I'm usually pretty good there. It's a flatter track, so I usually do pretty good. And then I kind of look through the schedule a little bit, looking forward to everything pretty much besides Phoenix at the end.
There we go. And yeah, Jeff, we know you're a big road course racer, so I assume you did the virtual 24 this weekend?
I did not actually. We had a couple house issues going on that kept me from doing it. So I wish I could have. I had a team that I was supposed to run in with it. I think they ended up finishing 4th. So good job for them. But wish I could have been a part of it, but had some stuff come up.
That's a bummer. Well, sorry to hear about that. Hopefully getting everything sorted out and everything's all right over there.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. Just, I got a new road racing wheel in this week, so I wouldn't have had time to really get that on and get used to it either. But you know what? Bathurst is the next endurance race up on the schedule, so that's my favorite track, and I'm ready to rip it there. So come on with that one.
Yeah, that will be an awesome one. So we'll try and keep an eye out for you when that shows on up. And yeah, once again, Jeff, congrats on a 3rd place finish with those older tires. Very, very impressive. So before we let you go and celebrate it on up, get a sigh of relief after 200 laps, we got to let you, of course, thank who you got to thank. Either some sponsors on the cars, some of those all-important teammates, or maybe some people tuning on into the broadcast.
I'll thank my sponsors for once. I don't do it enough. S-Works RC Cars, Reds Racing Engines, Dialed RC Tires, Send It RC, stuff like that. You guys, and then I haven't listened to any of the broadcasts, obviously, because I'm racing, but Carson for being in here helping you out. I'm sure 200 laps that's probably a handful for one announcer. And then, my team, again, doing a good job. Eric had a brake issue going on with his pedals. It was dragging a little bit tonight, so to see him come away with a 16th place finish is pretty good. And then, Steve finished 8th, and Dan, I think he pulled out. Where did he pull out? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Dan drove all the way up to 6th after getting the lucky dog with that second to last yellow.
Yeah, so I knew he still had a set of tires. So if it would have been a longer run, he might have done better than all of us. So who knows?
Yeah, he was a man on a mission, and he was actually the biggest mover of the race here tonight.
Really?
Yep.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, definitely cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, I think he was telling me. I think he popped the wall on both his qualifying laps, so I think that put him in the back.
Yeah, it did. He started dead last on the field here tonight.
Pretty good finish for him then.
Yeah, that it was. So once again, Jeff, congrats on your great finish here. P number 3, still walking away with the all-important points lead. So you, my man, have a great night. Go enjoy the real-life Daytona 24 hours. That's got to be awesome to see in person. And we'll catch you back on track for Indianapolis then in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. We'll see you, Brett.
Alrighty, folks. That was Jeff Pogo, our 3rd place finisher in Carson. That will do it with the driver interviews. Some cool stuff there from everyone.
Yeah, Brett. Some great racing tonight. 200 laps, and with a lot of these guys running 24s beforehand, a lot of exhausted drivers, but they put on a show.
Yeah, that they did. 200 laps to end the weekend. Woo-wee, a lot of sim time, a lot of wheels probably smoking or on fire after all that racing.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, Carson. Well, let's run through tonight's finishing order here and start wrapping things on up. So Kenny Reel picking up his, I believe, second win this season, but then it is his 10th win in the league. Very cool stuff. So big congratulations to Kenny. In second will be Christian Delgado in the 31. Then in third, the last guy we just got done talking to, the 97 of Jeff Pogo. Finishing in P number 4 is the 58 of Justin Branham. And rounding out the top 5 will be the 16 of Steve Ritter.
And to pick up from there, finishing 6th by just a 100th of a second is the 81 car of Dan Dill. Behind him in 7th is the one of Brandon Garand. And then finishing 8th is the 8 car of Matthew Taylor. 9th is the 90 of Stephen Holmes. And then rounding out your top 10 is the 46 of Eli Raposa.
Yep, and then just outside of the top 10, finishing in P number 11, was the 62 of Frank Zingen. Finishing 12th is the 13 Jason Wiley. 13th going to the 74, that is Jason Ayerson. 14th is Eric Holly in the 7. And then rounding out the top 15 will be the 30 car of Ariba Kane.
And then finishing in 16th, from the 6th position, 3 laps down, is the 21 of Rob Lowell. In 17th, the guy I picked, put the announcer's jinx on him. He started 4th, but finished 17th, was the 4 of Jim Ott. Finishing 18th was the 47 car of John Buell. 19th was the 33 of Austin Smith. And then rounding out your top 20, another guy who started up front but had a tough night, the 6th car of Johnny Barker.
Yeah, tough break for him for sure, Carson. Then picking up from there, 21st will be the 42 of Dustin Coggins. 22nd going to Cody Brewer in the 12. 23rd is Caleb Hatt in the 27. Chris Taylor in the 69 will finish 24th. And then rounding out the field here tonight, going to Michael Morrison in the 14th and 25th. So Carson, 200 laps here tonight. A lot of sim racing and sim watching for the both of us here. How you feeling? I know I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, Brett, I'm pretty tired. I had a couple of tongue twisters and slip-ups, but it was a good race. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I was glad I could join you here tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you could, Carson. Thanks again for coming on in the booth, helping on out. Really do appreciate it. And yeah, I got to give a big shout out to these racers out here tonight to do these 200 laps. I'm sure those guys are feeling tired as well. And for putting on some great racing. I mean, all the 3-wide racing, the close battling, man, it was awesome to watch.
Yeah, Brett, there was plenty of chaos, plenty of great battles, crazy moves, strategy, racecraft on display, but in the end, Kenny Reel prevails.
Yeah, that he did. He was, like Jeff Pogo said, probably the class of the field here tonight in picking up the win. Kenny Reel was on rails.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that. Well, we'll wrap on up here. Once again, got to give a big shout out to all the league sponsors here coming on board this season. Of course, the big one, Riptide Radio. You can find out more about them with the link in the description. We got BG Graphix. Got to give a big shout out to those guys. Brandon does a great job with all the paint schemes, and he'll be on full display for the throwback weekend here in just a few weeks. Out of the Woods Crafts, DTL Customs, and then, of course, Leaf Guard with the Pole Award. Kenny Reel walking away with that, as well as the checkered flag. Got to give a shout out to Rob and all the other admins, as well as all the drivers. And then we head over to YouTube. Got to give a shout out to everyone watching live, watching the replay, as well as those that tuned on into the chat there. We got Andrew, Dave, Larry, Dylan, all you guys jumping on in. Really do appreciate all you guys giving me some more content to talk about. And then, of course, got to give a big shout out once again to you, Carson.
Yeah, Brett, thanks for having me here. My first ever broadcasting this league. We've done some work in Turn 3, though, with ASRC, and it was nice to get my feet wet with this league and had a lot of fun with you.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it myself as well. So we will get things wrapped on over. One more thing I got to mention, though, is Turn 3 Racing Network is once again partnered up with Premier Setup Shops. You can find some more information from those guys as well in the description. And Premier working on some cool stuff. They have a driving academy now that you can find out more about. And I'm sure we'll get a video for that here before we know it. So if you want to check out maybe some paint schemes or some good dirt setups, be sure to click the link below. Even if you don't want to buy anything, at least click the link. That will generate some traffic, show that we are supporting them as they support us. But here we go. It is closing in on 10 o'clock this Sunday afternoon, so we'll get things wrapped on up. Next week, you can catch all the racing action at the same place, Turn 3 Racing Network at 7 p.m. as these guys try and tackle the Lady in Black. It is Darlington. You won't want to miss it. So I have been Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Happy birthday, Grammy.
And yeah, happy birthday, Grammy.